rest of the stuff the players are trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, we could try putting something in there this week, and if it doesn't work out, then um, I guess we'll take it out next week. But if it does work out, maybe we can dig deeper into it.
Sounds good to me, man. Because
Um,
like I said, it's a great idea.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. The other thing I came up with was I have like a survival pack that I made a couple of years ago because I hiked the Appalachian Trail,
mhm.
and I had a pack, and I went through it to see if I could find anything that might, be useful. And I thought, well, if they're getting wood, are we saying they're just going into the forest and picking up wood and coming back? Or I was thinking maybe they'll get that survivor pack in the beginning of the game. What if there's like a hatchet that was in the bag?
I was
And
thinking a machete or a kukri.
yeah, I was thinking they had something small where they can collect like one or two wood, but then to collect like three or four, they'd have to build like an axe.
We can work it in. You know what we should do
Yeah.
before we get into any of that stuff is we should probably catch Jeffrey up
Yes, true.
to what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I know Jeffrey did submit his playtest.
Found what the rest of us found.
Yeah, and we seem to all have a lot of problems with some things. So basically, Jeffrey, we decided um, we're gonna eliminate them having a virus approach, and figured basically we said they're just gonna be a group of people flying in a plane. The plane loses control, crashes on an island, and they have to survive. And every 3 months, they'll 3 successful months they complete, they'll be rewarded with a component of a radio that they need to, signal the outside.
All right.
So we also figured instead of there being a trader, that maybe it'd be just best if everyone, um,
It was them versus the game.
yeah, they all just cooperated against. Which I did message the instructor about the imperfect or perfect information.
Uh huh.
And he said that because we do have cards face down, that gives the players imperfect information, so it's a non-zero sum.
Yeah.
He said, regardless if it's against the game or against other players, as long as there's something hidden from the players, then it's imperfect. So
Good deal. Now, later on, um, adding the trader may be something we do later as a feature,
yeah,
but we really felt, especially whenever we were playtesting the game, and it felt like move space, roll dice, get card, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. It wasn't working, and I think that the new direction we're going will fix that, especially with the addition of the trap action as a secondary action.
yeah,
Um, and if that works really really well, that may be something we can add in at some point. I don't know how we'd work it in the story, but for right now, we just felt that it was better to focus on get our core mechanic really strong and make sure it works before we started adding that feature. Because that feature is, as much as I love it, I can see why it's hard to implement.
yeah.
Um, so that's kind of where we are on that. And if I remember right, tonight's focus is primarily on the mechanics section.
Yeah, mechanics and rules.
Mm-hmm. And then I think after we get those done, it may not be a bad idea to go back through some of our uh, the game overview parts and just kind of flesh that out a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, we're at 13 pages. The rules and mechanics, that'll probably take up, might add 2 or 3 more pages. Plus, we have the flow chart we need to put in there.
Mm-hmm. What I'm worried about is once we get all of this underlined stuff deleted.
Yeah, how much will be in there then?
Uh-huh.
But then again, we also got to add pictures
We
into
should be
it.
okay then.
Yeah. The other thing I did last night was, if you go back to where I had all the logo designs, I found another logo that might work. Um, I figured everyone could just vote on which one they think would be better. The only problem I had with the first two, the one with the graphs, is um, I went onto a website where you can create designs, but the problem with these, the ones with the graphs, is you have to pay to get the graph removed, and it was like $37. So I went on and found another free service, and this is where I got the shield and the shark fin.
See, if we had Photoshop included with our software,
Yeah.
we'd get rid of that grid real easy.
Well, I tried doing it on GIMP, but it was just
GIMP's a piece.
it was very time consuming.
I'm sorry, but GIMP is a piece of trash.
Yeah. I was like, I don't feel like sitting there trying to erase all these grids, and I couldn't find like the tool to outline, maybe just the shark and move that to a blank canvas. So
The lasso. Is what
yeah.
You take the lasso and then you just copy it to a new layer.
Maybe I can work on that tonight.
Either way, I think I like the idea of like this sharkicane
Yeah.
here. I think whatever we do, that needs to be in the background
All right.
somehow.
Yeah, I'll work on that tonight. Maybe combine these two.
Mhm.
All right. Justin said he's not going to be able to join until about 9 o'clock. He said he was busy.
Well, at least he'll be here at some point.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's take kind of a quick go through from like the feature set just to get Jeffrey on track and to kind of refresh our minds over what we changed.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of delve into the mechanics section and knock that out. Side note, I tried adding salt to my coffee.
Not good?
No, delicious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not very much, but just a little bit,
Yeah.
and it makes it so much smoother. I read it on like one of Alton Brown's food post things. He's like, "Put salt in your coffee." I'm like, "I don't know about that," but yeah, if you get the chance to try it, definitely do that.
I'm not a big coffee person, but usually in the winter is when I drank it. But I prefer hazelnut flavored coffee. I don't know why.
Hazelnut's good. All right. So, Jeffrey, basically what we did, the major changes we made, besides the theme, well, not the theme, besides kind of the story elements and taking out the trader, is we added a secondary action for the players to do instead of just rolling. Actually, there are 3 actions, really. Because whenever you get to a space, you can choose to search the area, which is the same, roll a dice to get a resource, but the only resources you get out of that are building or crafting materials. You can also roll for food, because we had a separate deck for food, picked food, like berries or fruits, and then we had a medical deck. I almost think we should have the medical deck be just one deck of medical supplies.
Yeah.
Just so we don't end up with a bunch of, not cards just strewn out all over the place. But we can talk about that later. And the other thing is the berries and the fruits will give you a lower amount of food, like 1 or 2. But you also have the ability now to set traps. And a trap will always, we have to figure out when the roll phase for it is, but will always give you food equal to 1 more than berries or fruits would. And you also have a chance, if you roll a higher number, to get more food out of a trap. But if you have a trap, you can't search for resources, like for building materials, to get your monthly goal on that turn. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there. That was the big thing. The medical stuff is part of the monthly goals, and they are going to be extremely hard to get. And then the reason behind that is if you're out in the wilderness and you get an infection and you don't take care of it, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of simulate that. Like, it's still possible. Like, you can still roll it, but it's going to be one of the harder goals to achieve. We told you about the radio. The season cards weren't really working for us because they were really kind of clumsy to implement, so we changed it to weather conditions. They still do the same thing, but they just made a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Within the scope of our game. Let me think. What was the other thing we did? We added tokens. Um, as for trap tokens, and we decided that that requires one cordage and one trap component to build a basic trap. If you're lucky enough to have bait on you, which you get from the beach, I believe,
Yeah.
It adds a additional modifier to your roll. So you have, if you take the time to go get bait and you have the trap components, you're going to get, pretty good amount of food. We've talked about looking at the fire. We're still trying to figure out how to implement that. What we're going to try to do, Tyler, if I remember right, is just have it. You have to feed it hardwood from the mountain,
Yes.
or bamboo,
Uh,
or just hardwood.
I think we were gonna try it just hardwood, because I know you mentioned bamboo is harder to keep going with fire.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Just got a lot of water in it.
yeah, so I think maybe just hardwood.
Okay.
It just gives them one area to try to focus on it. I mean, and if that seems too easy when we play test it, then maybe we can add wood elsewhere too.
Okay.
So
And then we talked about having the classes, but we're kind of on the fence as to whether or not we're going to actually use them or how to use them, I think was the problem we were running into.
yeah,
So that's why that's in bold. And that's kind of where we're at tonight, is to flesh out the turn phases. Definitely want to flesh out the monthly goals. We may want to start on the monthly goals because that could impact what actions they have per turn.
yeah.
But Tyler, that's obviously up to you. Whatever you want to work on. But that would be where I would suggest starting, because then we have somewhere to work backwards from.
Yeah, we can probably start on turn phases. That way, or we could probably do setup first. That might just
Yeah,
be
we can just go from the setup down. Yeah.
I know one of the other things that I thought about was we did say in each region there would be like 5 squares, and each one would change the amount that you had to roll.
That's right. Yeah.
Now I was thinking, should they just be like in a straight line? Because I know we said we would have a max of 2 people allowed in each region. So I thought, well, if we have 5 squares, what if we had, um, the first squares, there'll be 2 right next to each other, and that'll be like just a normal roll they have to get. And then if they want to do, increase their chances of getting something, they spend an action point and go to the next set of squares, which will be 2 next to each other, so you can have 2 people in that area, and that'll be like -1 off the number you got to get. But then let's say the 5th square, if they want to spend one more action point to go to the, I guess the 3rd level is 5th square. There'll just be 1 square. That way you don't have 2 people up there, farming a lot of material. Just one person can go up there, and that'll like take 2 off of the initial roll that you have to get. Kind of build like a little pyramid.
That's kind of how I actually envisioned it.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about it, and yeah, that's absolutely kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because that way you can still have somebody in a region, but you can't have 2 people farming, big.
Yeah. If you got 2 people up on the last square, and if you have to roll a 3 or higher to get something, now you just got to roll
A 2.
A 2. If you got 2 people up there, then that might be a lot.
I also thought that,
Go on.
like in order to get to that big square,
Yeah.
it would cost, no matter what region you're in, it would cost an additional fatigue.
All right.
Just to make it a little, that way it's not too easy just to hop over there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The way I thought it was, I think maybe we should have them start out with. I was going to say 4 base fatigue points, or maybe 3. I'm still debating 3 or 4. You spend 1 going to a region. You spend 1 going to And I was thinking if they spend one, go to the region, they end up on the first square once they get to the region, so they can roll from there.
Yeah.
But also, they're gonna have to spend an action point rolling. So then they'll have one left, and they could choose to come back to base and drop off what they had, roll in that spot again, or go to the next square, and wait next turn to
Hmm.
reset everything, or give them four, so they go to the region, roll, can go back to the base, and then head to another region, or stay in that region, move up a space and roll, or wait. I'm thinking maybe four would be better.
Hmm. Yeah, because it would cost them. It would also cost them an action point to set a trap as well.
Yeah,
Though, do we want to let them have the ability to roll and set a trap in the same turn? Because you could roll for something. Because then you could start doubling up and stacking
yeah,
your resources. So if we want to include that, that's fine. But
yeah. I
uh,
think we could do that. They want to roll and set a trap, like roll for berries and then set a trap. Say they go to the forest, they're on square one. They want to roll, get some berries, and then they want to set a trap. They can do that.
well, yeah, because they have to have the components to build the trap as well. So that would, if they don't have the components, they can't set a trap. So
Yeah, I'm
I think
think.
that'll work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that we won't charge them an action point to build the trap. I think maybe if they just had the materials, then they can have that. It'll be built.
Yeah, let's try it like that, and then see if it is too easy, we can always add the cost back in. But
Yeah,
I think just making sure you have the materials is going to be a challenge in itself.
yeah. I feel like giving them too many things to track with fatigue might,
Mm.
they might lose track of other things they have to do, or even lose track of their fatigue and how much they've spent. So,
I thought about that. What would be kind of cool is if we had a marker
yeah,
that was, say that it was a silver fatigue marker, and you on one side and the other side was red. So as they used them, they flipped them over.
yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I totally stole that from Munchkin, by the way. They have like in order to move through rooms in the dungeon,
Yeah,
you have these little feet, and each time you use a movement, you have to flip a foot over. And it's green on one side and red on the other.
that's a good idea.
So, all right. Well, why don't we start at the? Are there any other features? Did we forget to put any features in here?
I don't
Listening,
think
radio.
I don't think so. I mean, we'll go back to it. When we start, I guess when we get the mechanics and the turn phases down, we might figure out something that needs to go back in there. But
Oh, we forgot the. We did forget the suffrage counter.
yes,
Suffrage counter?
yeah. Instead of calling it the death clock or the doomsday, we're gonna say it's a suffrage because every month that they fail to meet their goal, they're gonna suffer. Losing up, minusing one on the suffrage counter, and then someone's going to suffer from um, a sickness or an injury. On the monthly goal card, it'll have their goal, and then it'll say the fail. If you fail, then one person is going to have a sprained ankle for the month, and everyone's going to roll, and whoever had the lowest number is going to be the one with the sprained ankle.
Alright.
That's kind of how the game wins. Is if it gets all the way to zero.
Yeah. If
Uh,
they either the suffrage gets to zero, they lose, and then the win condition is crafting the
the radio.
Alright.
Alright, so when you finish that, I guess we'll head to the game setup.
You guys can head down there. I'm
Alright,
just punking this in, and I'll meet you guys down there real quick. So you're not waiting for me.
I'm already here.
alright, so let's see. This should be the first section explaining how to set the game up. This is how to set your players up for play, not the process modes. Alright. So they open the box, they open the board, set the board down, get all the cards out. Then the first thing they do is Randomly.
They have to sort the cards into their regions, don't they?
Well, I don't know if that's. This is how you set up your players for play, not the process by which the boards or cards are constructed from your prototype. That will come later under detailed rules for specific pieces. If you are doing a board game, make sure to describe the board with a graphic and label it at all the parts. For your cards, make sure to include a detailed design of your card layout with labels. This also includes selecting who goes first and choosing any roles within the game prior to gameplay.
So that would be like you have a bunch of cards, and like you have to sort out the medical cards, put them in their space on the board.
Yeah. Do we want to put them there? I mean, I just imagine it like, you just bought the game, it's in a box. In the box, they'll probably be already organized. You'll have a slot for crafting cards, medical cards, food cards.
What if this is your second playthrough and they're all mixed together?
I guess we could do that. Sort cards into this. I'll say areas.
Mm-hmm.
Then they randomly choose a character card.
Mm-hmm.
So they get their card. Do we want them? Should they roll to see who goes first, or should that wait until they're just about to play? Should we have them?
They can roll at this point.
All right, I was thinking of them having their opening the resource or the survival pack and getting the materials that they're allowed to have. I guess we'll have that as a second section or second area thing.
Yeah. Well, they should still sort out their, because this game setup isn't necessarily like from a consumer's point of view. Like they're not. It's just kind of for people to set up to play test. So you could say, assemble the starter hands, and then in parentheses put the survival pack. So resource crafting, weather, medical. What other cards do we have? Survival cards. There.
Is that it?
And survival.
It was food, survival, goals.
I forgot food. That's what I forgot.
Yeah. Fatigue. That. It's not a card though, is it?
It's a token.
Alright, so I'll move that down.
Perspective. Yes. Shuffle each deck. There we go. Randomly choose a character card from I was trying to be as specific as I can with these.
Yeah.
Randomly choose a character card from the because we'll put shuffle the character card. Each player will draw face down card to determine which player avatar player standee control. Players will receive the in sheet. I think the info sheet will probably just be character, story stuff, and then it'll have the turn phase on it.
Yeah.
And act as kind of like a quick start guide.
I was thinking up in the story part where we have to at least have half a page. I was thinking maybe we could apply a little bit about the characters on there.
Absolutely.
You know, give them a background. So we can figure that out later. All right, so shuffle the included characters. Then they choose one. Then they assemble some of the starter hand.
Okay. In the starter hand, we can actually. I mean, we don't necessarily have to have a deck for that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like 2 food, 2 water per player.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and their knife card.
Oh yeah, knife or hatchet.
Mm-hmm. Where did they get the hatchet?
I was just gonna say it's part of the pack, I guess.
Oh, you're talking about the little ones. Okay, for some reason I was thinking like a freaking
Dead of Winter.
like a freaking like axe.
Yeah, I was thinking
not a survival hatchet, not a tomahawk.
Yeah.
You know what they need is a survival trowel. Those things are good for everything.
Yeah, we could do with the trowel.
Or dude, you know what you could? Well, I was gonna say each character could one could in their pack they could have a kukri, one could have or a machete, one could have a trowel, one could have something else, but
yeah.
That we might get into that later after we get our core down.
Yeah, I'll put the hatchet in bold in case. We'll have to come back and look at that, see if that is something that can be applied.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so they assemble the starter hand, roll to determine who goes first, then they apply the first survival goal card, which is to build a shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that's when they actually start playing, begin the game.
I'm going to put a little note. This is indicated by a number 1 in the top left corner. Now I think that should be the only goal that's numbered.
All right.
Is that one? Since the rest of them are going to be kind of random. Up of corner on the back of the card. That way, whenever they're searching through it, they're not looking at the face.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
I'll be back.
All right.
I'm just gonna grab something to drink.
I give you some coffee, but you're 3 hours away. It would be cold by the time they got to you.
Cold
Clear.
coffee is still good.
You ever heard of this stuff going around like cold brewed coffee?
Yep.
I want to try it, but I'm kind of wary.
I got Sonny D.
So,
I'm just gonna go grab some
I'm
water.
gonna go get some Capri Sun at a Lunchable, man.
I'll be back.
All right.
Okay, so they sort the resource crafting, weather magical into their respected areas. Shuffle each deck prior to player 1's turn. Shuffle the included character cards. Each player will draw a face-down card to determine which player's standee they control. Players will then receive a character info sheet that corresponds with. Can't English good today. Assemble the starter pack. Roll to determine who goes first. Apply the first survival goal card. I'm going to capitalize that since it's a thing,
Yeah.
and so it's easier for us to find later. It's indicated by number on top left corner on the back of the card. Is there something? We should probably talk about. Well, we don't really have to sort out the tokens. They'll just be in the box, and people can grab them as they need them. So we don't need to do that.
Yeah. We got those 4 colored marbles, so I was trying to make sure we had at least, the 4 tokens. We have trap, fire, fatigue, and whatever else we decide to put in. That way, there's all 4.
Mhm.
Or I was thinking of just like maybe using colored paper clips, or color something in to indicate the players.
Yeah, and actually, you know what we could use? Those little binder clips you can get from Office, like the little black ones that have the silver clip on them?
Yeah.
We could use those for the standees.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then we can just print them off, or have Justin draw them up, and then we can just print them off, cut them out, stick them on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Player 1 begins their turn, and then we'll say play continues. We say clockwise or counterclockwise?
Yeah, clockwise.
Clockwise. For the duration of the game. Michael needs to learn how to spell. I tell you, I got ridiculed the other day. I was talking to somebody about doing stuff with Full Sail, and they're sitting there, and they asked me if I'd ever played D&D before. I have never played D&D. Apparently, I'm the only game design student in the history of ever that has never played D&D before.
I've never played it.
I played it.
There's somebody else. I feel so much better now.
When I lived in New York, there was a magic shop that a guy I worked with owned, and it was right across the street from where I lived. And every Friday or Tuesday or Wednesday, they would have Dungeon and Dragon night. But I would work that night, so I could never go. And then every Friday and Saturday, they would have Magic tournaments, but I worked those nights also, so I think I went 1 or 2 nights to play Magic, but I couldn't get into it enough to, try to switch my work hours so I can go. So, I kind of feel like I might regret that here in the future. But
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, my dad was very adamantly anti Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He didn't care if I played, any other kind of game, but he was like, D&D is something you're not going to play. And so, but he grew up in like the 70s, where like some people that took it way too far were in the news a lot.
yeah,
So I think it kind of came from his parents, and then I was always kind of interested in it, but they bought me video games instead, so I was like, oh. And I was just so busy in school with because I was one of those kids that I did, I was in ROTC, I was in band, I was in choir, I got roped into drama because I could sing, and because there's a lot of cute girls in drama and a lot of gay guys, so the ratio was fantastic. And
I did Shakespeare for 1 year.
there you go. So
Yeah,
you know how it goes. And actually, I met my wife in an acting class, believe it or not.
really?
I did, yeah. I took I was an electronic media production major, and I decided, if I want to learn how to write scripts and relate to actors, because in the electronic media thing, it was very hard skill based. They would give you a script, you would storyboard it, you would come up with a 2-column script, do the graphics, and shoot it and produce a video.
Yeah.
But we didn't get into a whole lot of the more art side of the writing or how to deal with actors. So all my extracurricular stuff I took for theater, because I thought that would help that. So I was in this intro to theater class, and this little brunette walks in, and instead of sitting in the chairs like everybody else, she just plops down on the floor. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. So I plopped down on the floor next to her, and we started talking, and the rest is history. So
Damn.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, all right. So turn sequence.
Alright.
Just because you're deaf doesn't mean I am.
I'm just bragging on you.
I know. I'm just saying. I heard every word you said.
Oh, awesome. Hey, before you sit down,
Before I sit down, I'm moving all this laundry to the couch. I'm moving laundry before I get you any coffee.
okay, that's fair. Should the survival, quote unquote, survival pack also, since that's kind of like the player's starting hand,
Yeah.
should we include their fatigue counters in that?
Yeah, I guess we'll put that in there.
So the fatigue counters like tokens then?
Yeah.
Maybe say 4.
We got another $30.
So I just $30 in our bank
I'm gonna unbold this one.
Well, good. You can buy me Dead of Winter.
We both unfolded and it folded.
I said you can buy me Dead of Winter. I didn't. You did when you came in with the food. My wife is confused. Huh?
Shut the garage.
No.
Would you go shut it, please?
Yeah. I'll be RB, guys.
Alright.
I got husbanding stuff I got to take care of real quick.
How did it take you 20 seconds?
I know.
You have to give him a long goodbye.
Goodbye.
We'll be done with the game when you get back.
Yeah, that works out great for me. I'll be.
I'm okay with that. Man, I didn't wake up until about like an hour ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I had something happen last night, so I had to stayed up pretty late.
Yeah. I think I woke up like 10. I didn't go to bed until like probably 4.
I didn't go to bed till about noon.
What did you do all day? Or all morning?
All night. Well, this is something just happened, and I got up at like 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
and I just stayed up until noon because I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just did stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I have a hard time falling asleep myself. I don't know why. I'm a nocturnal person, but I just prefer being awake at night.
I mean, I like being awake at night. It's just, there's just things I can't do if I'm not awake in the morning.
Yeah.
So, I try to be awake in the morning, but at the same time, it's hard to be awake in the morning. Because I work best at night, so.
Same here.
It's first world problems.
Turn sequences.
That doesn't really make any sense.
That's a quote from Dumb and Dumber.
The beer flows like wine.
Yeah, in Aspen.
It really is dumb.
See, they got it.
Shut up. It's not dumb.
I think it's funny how, like,
I
the That's like the first thing I he gets back.
What is so funny now?
I didn't like the sequels, but the first one was pretty good.
I didn't even see the second one.
Because you watched it when you were like,
Oh,
12.
dude, you don't need. It's bad.
Is it?
It's really bad. I haven't seen the one that actually has Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in it,
Yeah.
but
The first one had Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. In
no.
it.
There was the first one. Then they did like a prequel that didn't have Jim Carrey or Jeff Daniels in it, and then they did another one with
You
Jim
mean
Carrey.
You mean Dumb and Dumber 2?
I
Or Dumber, I guess.
it was one. I don't remember. Whatever it was.
Ruby came up to me today and goes, "Is this chocolate?"
So our fatigue tokens, are we like flipping them over when we use them?
We're both.
I think-
Um,
Be an easier way to keep track of it. We don't have to. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if
I want the chocolate.
we use it when I'm just, it's good to say, like, flip over.
Yeah, I think that the marker or the marbles or whatever they gave us. I mean, we could say if we did those, you know, when they do something, they just remove it from like their fatigue pile or something. But it might be putting them back and all that might be too much. So I guess we could say two-sided.
Get a bunch of pennies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, you could use pennies.
two-sided coin or something.
What if they had like a fatigue spaces on their card?
Well, that's what I was also either thinking maybe on the border of the board.
Mhm.
Maybe we had some areas there where they can place their fatigue tokens, maybe their cards or something like that.
Could be.
Alright, so I just had an idea.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how we're keeping track. So we're still having like the month thing where it goes month by month, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how are we keeping track of the months?
I think each time you like, there's, you know how we have the survival goal card. Part of the board. I think underneath that there should be 3 card spaces that as you complete a month or a survival goal, it goes in that space.
Yeah.
And once you get 3, then you can pull from the deck.
I was just thinking, like, what if we had another, like, meter thing that was just, like, a monthly meter? And maybe you just put, like, a token on it or something. Like, so something to represent, like, what month you want. So it's like you just slide it over 1 to month 2. Or something like that.
Well, I know one thing we said we were going to remove the 12-month span because this could take more than 12 months. So we're going to put an endless cap on the time they can play. But I was thinking there could be like a successful deck and a failed deck, I guess. When they fail a month, it'll go in that pile, and I guess if they pass, it can go in that pile. And every 3 successful months they get, they'll get one of the radio components.
Yep.
And then the
So, alright, so turn sequence. Players choose what region they want to go to. That's -1 fatigue point. Within that region, players spend 1 more. Players can spend 1 to search more resources or further into.
So, I got, like, Windows 10.
About Windows 10?
I got Windows 10.
Oh, yeah.
he's got Windows 9.5. It's about Windows 10, but not quite there.
I think something that really irritates me is that all of the internet connections I have are set to auto connect.
Oh, fun.
So I have to like manually go in and like un-auto connect them all. Because if I ever restart my computer, it'll auto connect to one like randomly.
I think I still have Windows 8 on my other computer. The only
Right.
thing I wish the Mac would do that does is like when you have multiple documents open, or if you had 2 documents, you can like drag it to one side of the screen, and it'll make it that side, that half side, and you could do the same thing with the other one.
Has anyone else used Windows 10?
I haven't used it yet.
No.
Okay. Well, they have this really cool feature where if you split it on the one half of the screen, it actually like shows everything that you have open on the other side of the screen that you can just click on and just automatically flip the other half.
Man, that sounds a lot like Expose that's been around for ever on the Mac side.
It's so much nicer. I'm like, I don't have to go search for everything.
Yeah. Okay, so players choose what region they want to. I'm just going to pretty this up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Want to explore. What we might do too is add a different bullet point at the top. No, that could just be in the general rules section. I was going to say outlining the actions and how much fatigue they take, but that would be in the specific.
Yeah.
Section.
I'm just gonna put like every their fatigue here in parentheses. Every action that we note down in the turn sequence. I mean, we could also discuss it more in the specific details, but I think just in here, just to give it a little clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still having it to where them going to the mountain takes 2 fatigue, or is that just 1 now?
To go there, it'll be 1. So
Okay.
they're at the base. They want to go to the forest. That costs 1 one fatigue token. And when they get there, they'll be at the first square. So from there, they can spend 1 more fatigue to search,
Mhm.
or.
Are we going to have like the entrance, the gateway, have them able to search, or not till they actually get into the region?
I think once they get there, I guess. If I'm at the base and I want to go to the forest, I'm going to spend 1 to go to the forest, and that'll automatically put me on the first square where
Mhm.
I can search. But that'll be where I have to roll like a 3, 4, or 5 to get a resource card.
Okay.
And then if I want to, get a 2, 4, or 5, or 4, 5, or 6 will be the first square. 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be second square, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be the last square.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Right now, are we still having them in order to get through to the next region? They have to pass through the hub.
Yeah, I think that would make more sense.
I agree. What is this, and why am I playing with it?
Within that region,
It is a tool that I got from the thing that I put up there because in case one of the kids locked themselves in the bedroom. It was before I found the key to the doorknobs under the couches because that little screwdriver end is perfect for unlocking these little doorknobs.
I just want to know what it is.
I have something like that.
Probably some kind of chisel tool.
I have no idea. Anyway, I just poked myself with it.
Well, stop playing with it.
No. Player chooses to search for resources. Well, would that be in the actual, like further down, in the general rules section? Just say they have the opportunity to search for resources.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if that would be a turn sequence. I mean, because they would do that part of their. Yeah, I guess it would go down there. Yeah.
It's confusing.
I know, right? Because they're like, and he's, if the instructor wasn't, because he's so damn specific. I've had him before. He's a great instructor,
Yeah.
but he's very specific on what he wants. Where.
Well, I'd rather have specific than vague.
So we'll be, yeah, no shit, right? Okay, so within the region, players can search for resources, 1 fatigue, or move further into the region, 1 fatigue token. And then we can also say, if the material requirements are met, they may also set a trap.
Yeah. I'm just reading over this stuff, the instructions, see if there's. I mean, So that after we list them, detail them entirely. This should be many pages long.
Okay, so what he wants the
Well-
bulleted list, and then
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe we'll give the main turn phase, the main turn. I guess going to a region, and then bullet underneath that. You know what turns what they can do in their incentive turns. Make sure to cover all possible events from movement to combat to resource management to cleanup. This section is what will help you create the bulk of the text for the prototype. Include examples if you think the complexity warrants it. Make sure you focus on mechanics and rules, and everyone needs to contribute. Make sure you clearly explain every mechanic and rule. Remember, this document is for developers and it's easy to develop something. So,
okay, so alrighty. So when we get into
I'm trying to imagine us playing it, you know.
mhm.
It's my turn. I'm going to go to a region. Then I'm going to decide if I want to roll from that spot or move to the next spot.
Mhm.
Players can, so we can say within that region, players can choose to search for resources or move further into the region. So, and then I think,
we have to be like,
yeah, if
that's funny.
chooses
I would,
to search. I feel like these are going to be like kind of like we're coding if-then statements.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about why, like especially why we wanted to use the random element.
Yeah, if
For the-
chooses to search, then players roll a dice to determine if they are successful in searching for resources.
I just want to inform everyone I ordered food like a long time ago and it still hasn't gotten here.
So they have
So-
that thing, if it's not there in 30 minutes, it's free.
I wish they did.
Everything's
Actually-
up to date in Kansas City.
Actually, one time I had food come like 2 hours late and I
Really?
got it free. Yeah.
When I lived
So-
in New York, Domino's would do that, but like if they didn't deliver in 30 minutes, it would be free. But they stopped. They didn't deliver to the town I was in. The last delivery spot was like the town right, because I lived like right on the border of two towns, and you know my house was on the other side of the border for the two towns, and they would not cross that border to come there because that would be like a 30-minute drive for them. So they said, but it was like 2 seconds from the last house they would deliver. So I was like, I'll meet you at the other person's house.
It's 2 seconds past 30 minutes. We can't deliver.
Yeah, I don't want it to be free.
I'm like, I don't care if it's free. I just want my pizza, man.
Yeah, right?
Okay, based on where the player,
Yeah.
based on
The number needed for success
How
can vary based on the player is in the region.
okay, so now we have to explain our rationale behind that.
Should we do that here or down in the detailed rules?
Let me think. Here we go. It's right here. For
Alright.
developers who develop something, understand the why behind it, give rationale when you use random elements. You must state why you want to include randomness.
Okay. So we can do that.
So if I remember right, what we were thinking was the random element is because these people are not experienced survivors.
Yes.
And while you're walking around searching for resources, sometimes you might find something you can use, sometimes you might not.
whenever I did my test, I ran into getting food a lot, but I couldn't actually get it because I didn't have the spear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was worried that, because if we were using a 6-sided die, we had a 50-50 chance of not getting something.
Yeah.
But I found it actually worked really well.
With the 6-sided?
As for
Oh, what the heck?
Because I think we're still debating if it's going to be 6-sided or the 20-sided.
Well, whenever we were doing our original playtest.
Yeah.
Because we could still use the 20-sided and just keep the same ratio, and
Yeah.
it still work.
I actually used the 4-sided die, which is the triangle.
Oh,
No
well,
one.
no wonder.
I mean, I got a lot of everything, so to be fair, it's
For
pretty.
not experienced survivors.
And I feel like them rolling kind of doesn't give them the automatic win.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're out in surviving, it's not like you're always going to be successful in gathering food. You can come spend all day and not come up with any food because you couldn't find any that was edible, or maybe you're hunting something and it got away, or
So I was thinking like, if we had, like, if they didn't get anything, maybe there was like some reason like why they didn't get it.
like if they had to roll a 4, 5, or 6 on the first square, but they rolled a 2, then they come up empty-handed that round. That's basically saying, you went to go find some berries, but all the birds ate the berries.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a story behind why you didn't get anything would make it more like entertaining.
And
That's your department, bro.
yeah. I mean, I was thinking that too. Should there be reasons why, that we should state why they didn't come up empty-handed or why they did? And then that's where I was thinking, like that game Dread. Players just made up stories along the way. So I think, I guess it's up to the players if they want to give a reason why, they got something or not.
We could just have that in the rule set when explaining, how you roll for resources. Whenever we say, from this number to this number, you don't get anything because,
Yeah.
The resource is unusable. Like wood would be rotted. The wood that you find that's rotted and not usable for building, or too wet so you couldn't use it for fire.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of like, I was playing this like extreme life game, and anytime you got like one of the extreme cards, it's like the most funniest story ever. Like, this is, because I can always remember one. It was like, so like there's a bird that's like flying through the sky, and he just takes a dump and it like falls in the player's mouth, but it counts as good luck, so the player got like $200,000. It's like, whoa, that's one way to get money. I was like, so I always thought that was funny. I mean, there's other funny ones too, but I just remember that one because it's like complete BS. I was like, bro just took a crap in your mouth and you just earned money for it.
Like a game show. The methodology behind adding a multiplier to the rolls, take it further into the resources the further you travel into the bushes, the more concentrating nature is. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. My little phone tripod fell down. There we go.
Oops. Let's go and player to the roles.
I'm going to change this a little bit. Some people may not understand what into the bush means.
Yeah.
Into the...
Sorry, cat.
Meow.
Did see him come lay right behind my foot. He's been very affectionate to me. I don't know why.
You want something?
Usually he's never like that.
My cat's always like that. He just likes to be pet.
I don't got any.
Like, you have a snack. Okay. All right. So that's the rationale behind those random elements. So now we should probably talk about laying the trap and our recents. The idea behind those elements too.
Well, let's see. Turn sequence. So this is in the region, and if they choose to roll, and if they choose, if the player chooses to roll or to search, and the roll dice determine if they are successful in search for resources, the number needed. So now, well, you said about going further in, which should probably be another bullet point by itself. So we can do. The players choose to
Spend the resources to go further, or spend the fatigue to go further in.
into the region.
The world isn't.
That's supposed to be delve.
Yes.
Delve deeper.
Yeah. Well, the delve, something like that. Players choose to delve deeper into the region in hopes to find more resources to spend.
So how deep into like a region can you go? Like,
There's only going to be like 3 levels.
okay. So I can spend all 3 fatigue to go as deep into like the forest as I want.
Yeah.
No, there's a cap.
I'm just going to spend the entire month going as far into the forest as I can.
Mhm.
Just isolate myself.
He's the traitor.
So is it only the game is now based on whether everyone wins or the environment wins? I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Either we all win or we all die.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Stop chewing on that. That's why you came over here.
I told you, because you want something.
Microphone cord.
I need to get a new headset now that I think about it. Because sometimes my fan on my computer goes like crazy, and then no one can hear me because it just drowns out everything. Because I have to use the internal mic.
I should use a pair of earbuds that came with my phone. It's got a little microphone on it.
Mine don't, sadly. And mine are kind of almost broken too.
Okay. And pass into another region.
Yeah.
What's the maximum you can have in your backpack?
I think we're figuring out either 5 spots or 7.
Yeah, it was between 5 and originally it was 7, but I think
Yeah.
if our goal, or not our goals, if our resource cards are higher, have like a higher number of resources, we don't need as many.
I mean, now I was thinking about this too. If we have, are we going to say like each slot is taken up by a card, or by the value on that card. So say you get a wood card that has 3 wood. Is that taking up 3 slots, or is just that card alone going to take 1 slot? So you can have like +3 wood card, +3 food card, which will be, you have 6 items, but is it going to be determined by the number of cards you have in your hand?
I think so, because it would be easier to, like, if you had set it, because it could be set to a hand limit as well,
Yeah.
and then because otherwise it'd be kind of hard to track. But if we do that, I think that maybe bringing it, we'll test it both ways, because if they can complete all their goals,
Yeah.
the fire, the survival goal, and the food goal with pretty easily with 7, we may chunk it down to 5 just to make them traverse back and forth a little bit more.
Okay. Alright, so when a player's not searching regions, they must return to base to empty their backpacks and fill storage before moving to another region. Now,
I'm say contribute.
yeah,
So,
we'll say turn sequence ends when
Don't tell me, huh? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Just stretching.
all of their
That stinks, my disgusting.
What?
Gross.
Not either.
Grossy pants.
How do I know it's not you?
What?
How do I know it wasn't you?
Because it wasn't.
Whoever smelt it dealt it.
Michael, no,
Whoever
what
did
is
the
Michael-
rhyme did the crime.
About
I've
whoever
never
did the
heard that
job.
one. You shush. He said whoever did the rhyme. How'd it go?
Whoever says the rhyme did the crime.
Whoever says the rhyme did the crime.
Yeah, right.
Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Tyler.
I think there's another comeback to that one too. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I have a comeback to that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not saying
Suspense much?
it.
Alright, so a turn sequence ends when a player uses all their fatigue tokens, 4 tokens per round.
I'm gonna say instead of done searching a region, if their backpack is full.
Alright, yeah, I guess we can do that.
Well, can you say done searching region / backpack?
Yeah, we can do that.
'Cause, I mean, there's always 2 options.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, what if I don't want to search in the forest forever? What if I want crab for dinner?
A good point. It's absolutely a good point. It is full. Now here's a thing about that though. We're saying when a player is done searching a region where the backpack is full, they must return to base to empty their backpacks and contribute. But that also has to keep in mind their fatigue and their movement.
Yeah. Let's see. This is what I'm trying to figure out where we got to put that in there so they know that they only have 4 fatigue points per round. So
Oh, we have 4 now.
yeah, I think we'll start with 4. And we'll see how 4 works when we play test.
Kind of liked 3. I don't know. Whenever I did my playtest, 3 did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about 3, but maybe that if we're gonna add in,
Extra spaces.
extra spaces or weather conditions or injuries, that's gonna affect their fatigue. You don't want to make it so they can't move at all.
So what determines whether the weather changes or?
I think we're gonna say we're only gonna have 2 weather conditions: heavy or high tide, and which will affect the beach and the river, and then which means you'll have to, you'll have less fatigue points, or it'll increase the number you have to roll. And then heavy rain will affect the mountain and the forest, and it'll do the same thing. I think it was.
We added 2 clear days in there as well that you could be drawn to.
Yeah, to make it fair. But I think we were deciding, because I know Justin said that, every month. I think that's what we're gonna do. Every month you choose a weather card, and whatever it is the effect for that month.
Mhm.
Well, I was thinking, what if heavy rain affected the river because it'll flood, and then
Yeah. Well, That's what I was gonna say. High tide, and we want to have the equal amount of.
We just have to have one weather condition that affects two, another weather condition that affects two. It doesn't really matter which ones they are,
Yeah.
just enough to keep it balanced.
I was just thinking of how weather affected everyone.
I mean, we could say heavy rain will affect the mountain, forest, and river, and high tide will affect. But then we'll only be down to.
Well, though, here's the thing. If high tide affects just the beach, which is our primary source of bait,
Yeah.
that might not be a bad thing, because then it would be. We have to play around with the rolls to figure out if that would work. And keep it balanced. If bait makes a difference.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so
We should probably add that in somewhere. Game setup.
yeah, probably add it into the top.
Yeah. Sort the. All right. So
Did we lose
assemble the
Tyler?
starter hand.
I know he got like
Hello.
cut off.
Oh, I think I hit the mute button on the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So we have assemble, determine who goes first, apply the first survival. Yeah, and then we'll have apply first survival goal card to the board. This is, and then we'll say add or randomly choose a weather
Card again.
I did not.
card and apply its effects to the month or for the month. Alright.
I'm actually going to add something to the top of the turn sequence that'll kind of describe what a month is.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Four turns equals.
I'll be back.
Alright.
I think my food finally got here.
Two, four rounds. At the beginning of each month, a new survival
And
goal is chosen. Yeah, and weather.
yeah.
Chosen as well as a weather addition that will affect all players for the duration of the month. There we go.
Alright, let's go over this, see how this works. So, beginning of a month or a turn, flip the cards. Player 1 chooses where they want to go. In that reason, they choose if they want to search or move further in. We got that. When they're done searching or the backpack is full, they must return back to base to empty the backpack and contribute before.
Oh, we forgot the if they want to place a trap.
Oh yeah. We'll do that under this. Under the other one. Yeah, we'll say if player has a trap, they can place
So tr-
it.
or didn't we say if they had the required resources to build the trap?
Yeah, I was just thinking instead of, if they had, the cordage and a stone, then they could just use those. I guess like turn them in, get a trap token,
Mm-hmm.
place that down.
Yeah.
Player has required resources to build. Let's say to craft a trap. They can place a trap token in the region and wait until next turn.
Hello.
To collect.
Are we gonna magic collect the food, or are they gonna have to be on that space to collect it?
I was thinking, I guess when they go there, we'll just have like another circle on that region where the trap goes, and I guess whenever they go back to that trap or that region, they can just collect the food.
Mhm.
Now, should that cost them an action point?
I don't think so, because you got to remember it already costs them potentially 3 resources if they have bait.
Yeah,
They're having to wait till the next turn to roll.
yeah.
So maybe if as long as they're in the region, they get that food next turn.
Okay. So I'll put that in there.
Mhm.
The trap is discarded after being used, and collecting from traps does not cost receipt token.
Yeah.
But player must be within that region.
Mhm.
But player.
So that discard resources.
Should it be the player that said it, or can any player?
That is a good question.
I mean, because I feel like that might be, if a player's in the forest, they set a trap, and their next turn they plan on going to the river to go get some water, but now they have to think, well, crap, I just put that trap, so I'm going to have to go back to the forest.
Maybe anybody can get it, but it has to be picked up within the turn that the roll happened. Otherwise, it spoils.
So, say player 1 goes in, sets a trap, can player 2 go in the next round to get it, or does it have to wait until player 1 goes again for it to successfully trap something?
I think if we're doing
I think it would have to go like a whole turn sequence, for every player. So if player 1 puts the trap down, it's not effective at trapping anything until player 1's turn again. But it has to be, the animal has to be caught in that turn sequence, otherwise it dies or something else comes along and eats it. So make a note of that too. Traps must be collected
So
next.
when it comes to traps, does it you can use them anywhere, or just in like the forest or something?
anywhere.
Yeah, we'll just say anywhere. Like on the beach, you can trap crabs. The forest
Fish.
will be like squirrel or something like that. The river could be fish, and the mountain will be like I don't know, rabbits.
You know what I thought about? Kind of an easy way for we have that extra 4th token that we don't know what it is. That could be trapped food, and each trapped food could equal like 2 each. So if they got like a 6, they would get 3 of these tokens.
Yeah.
An easy way to track it and keep it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, because if they get the food in there, we don't have an animal card, so I guess we can use animal token. And I guess that can just, you just put those tokens on top of the cards in the base.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think Justin just came on. Nope, that was David.
David.
Yeah.
David came on.
If he's online, he can get in here too, right?
He was messaging me earlier, but he said he'll be able to join tomorrow. I don't know if it's him that comes online or if maybe someone else comes online, like uses the computer and it automatically logs him in.
Could be.
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask him that tomorrow.
Yeah, because I want to include him if he's making the effort to be here,
Yeah.
but we need to make sure that's actually him.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we almost got a whole page of a turn sequence.
Almost.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Why are you
Achievement.
talking like that?
because my dad's got a funny voice, and I think they would enjoy my dad impression. This peanut gallery.
It brings a lot of entertainment to the team.
It's for morale.
Right.
I'm our morale counter.
Yep.
For the entire team. Do my Meatwad impression.
Do it.
See, now I'm on spot. I gotta think of something to say.
Didn't you do that last month?
I did, yeah. Jeffrey's heard it. Oh God. So the other day, Master Shake said I should put some salt in my coffee. But he's kind of crazy motherfucker, though. Well, I don't know exactly if I should do that kind of shit. Because I like candy.
That's awesome.
Thank
I'm gonna get that snip out of the recording.
just credit me somewhere, and it's yours.
Alright. So, hey, we got the traps. That's in there.
Contributions, I think, is the other thing that we have to, because we have to map out the contributions till the end of the month cycle. You know, counting up the goals and then sliding the sliders and stuff.
Yes. Alright. So that'll be another bullet point. After 4 turns each.
So,
On the final turn of the month. At the end of the final turn of the month. We could call it the you know how, like, in Dead of Winter they have the colony phase?
Yeah.
We could call it the survival phase.
Alright, so we'll do survival.
so each month you get like the monthly, I guess, like survival card.
Uh-huh.
And like, what exactly, like, what would we like have on them? Like, would it be a goal to collect a certain amount of something, or is it to be able to make something every time, or like?
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
Yep. Like
all of them.
the first card that's going to be drawn every time you start the game will be to build your base. So you'll have a month to go out and get the wood and whatever else we decide to put in there to build your shelter. Then the second month would be to start gathering food, water, firewood, so on and so forth. And then I don't know if I think we're still deciding if we're going to have a third month that's set before they actually start randomly getting things. But like a random card would be, I have one that says, you know, windstorm destroyed part of the shelter. You have to rebuild that. So for this month, you have to go collect this many wood on top of getting your 8 food and the water to feed everyone and so everyone can drink.
And like the second monthly goal card that deals with like the food and water and fire,
Yeah.
that introduces them to the subsequent monthly goals that they have to keep getting the same amount of food and water. It's a way of, we talked about it as kind of being like a tutorial phase.
Yeah.
But one that's still dynamic, because I don't think there's a way to fail it unless you just roll like Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
You know,
There was another game I watched last night, Unspoken Words, and I think that was the first game I saw where he lost.
he rolls like shit. You should watch the haunt. Oh God, it's like the haunting of something. It was an interesting game because it was a co-op game like ours.
Yeah.
But the traitor was determined by like a die roll, so it was completely random every time.
Yeah.
And whenever they got to that point, it was like they called it the haunting, and this player got possessed. It wouldn't be something we could do because it's basically turns into an RPG at that point.
Mhm.
Like there's there's a hero book and a villain book, and based off of like what artifacts are on the table or what scenario you get, and then they start playing. It's really interesting, but it's the only game I've seen Will Wheaton do well. But anyway, it was kind of the idea behind it was to get them used to the game,
Yeah.
but still have it, dynamic enough for replayability. You do this, you got to do that, and then you start the goals. Another one of the, I think one or two of the monthly goals are medical crisis.
Yeah.
So it could be like you got stung by a mosquito and now you have malaria. You're starting to get malaria, and in order to combat that, head it off.
You need to collect the proper materials.
These medical resources, but the medical resources are extremely hard to roll for.
Yeah. Now, are we going to have 12 monthly goals, or because I know we're going to expand the months, but should we have maybe like 15 monthly goals?
15 is a good number, and then if you miss a goal, it just gets shuffled back in.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have 15. I guess that works because we'll have maybe 2 or 3. The first 2 or 3 months are the tutorial phases, so those cards are always set. So.
Justin's gone.
Oh, he is?
Get his ass in here.
I'll add him to your call, people.
No, I think I'll end him.
Oh,
I'll
yeah?
beat you to it.
I don't know.
We'll
I don't
see.
even
We'll ask
know how
him.
to use Skype. I'm not. I can use Skype kind of. Well, it used to be like if I clicked on the thing and did a. Oh well, no wonder I'm on the wrong call. That would be why I can't do the thing.
Alright, survival phase. After 4 rounds are completed by each player.
Hey, buddy.
I think he's left.
Players then count stored resource cards.
And tokens.
Cards and tokens to complete survival goals.
Now, those are we still doing the thing where it's only the tokens that are at the base are counted?
Yes. If anyone is outside the base, whatever they have in their pack is what
Goes away.
Yep. Well, let's say if someone's out in the forest and they didn't make it back in time, but they have, let's say, 5 food, they have to eat 2 of them to survive out in the forest. Or should we say they have to eat? I think we'll say they have to eat 2.
Yep. And if they don't have 2, they lose a fatigue for the next round?
Yes, they are suffered, they lose a fatigue, and the suffrage goes down.
That's right, yeah. So,
Greetings, friends.
what's up, buddy?
So,
What's going on?
Not
Working
much,
away.
just finishing up our magnum opus.
Working on some turn sequences. Did we mention in the turn phase at all that they need to? I mean, have to go through the base to get to the other region, but I don't know if we ever.
I think if they choose, I think there was something said about that. Let's see. When a player is done searching region or the backpack is full, they must go to the base, empty the backpacks, and contribute before moving to another region.
Mhm.
Yeah, right here.
Did you highlight that one? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a bullet point on it saying that resources contributed to the base count towards the monthly survival goal. And then we'll outline what happens when they're outside on the survival phase. Phase.
Alright,
Uh,
well, before we do that, we'll say,
You know, we can. No, never mind.
flip new survival and weather card.
Oh, what the heck? Keep trying to fix survival and it wouldn't let me.
Those are not completed. Did we say we were going to have bad stuff happen on the survival cards? Like
Yeah,
the con-
I think on there it should say the fail consequence.
the
So at the beginning of the month, we flip the weather card.
Yeah, every new month you flip another weather card.
and then
Is there any way to flip a weather card that's not like at the beginning of the month?
I don't think so.
Nice.
We're just saying a month of shit or a month of clear skies. It's kind of like Missouri.
Right now, it's the month of cloudy skies and rainy weather.
And flooding.
Today was the first cloudy day in Texas in like 3 weeks after. I thought it rained too, but it wasn't.
Nice. The weather lied.
Dude, it's Missouri. The weather always lies.
We're in the car and there was like water down.
Weather always lies.
Why did it rain? My girlfriend's like, no, I turned on the windshield wiper fluids. And I was like, oh. Damn.
Ruined the mood.
There we go. Okay, so that's the survival phase. Now, did we say that these, well, the bad stuff will kind of go into on the specific pieces part?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if we have the suffrage counter gets closer to zero, should we write down what happens when it gets to zero?
Yes.
Or describe like what happens as it goes down?
Yeah, that'll be down in the end game conditions.
Mm-hmm.
For the turn phase, I think this is. Let's see, we'll go over it. Flip the monthly card, blah blah blah. Choose what region you want to go to. Within there, you choose if you want to search for resources or move further in. When you're done searching, the backpack's full, you go back to base, drop your stuff off, move to another area. After 4 turns, everyone you just flip the storage cards, you count the tokens, and if they meet the goals, you're successful. If not, move the suffrage counter down, apply failed effects, flip new monthly survival and weather card, and begin the match.
I'm adding before the players flip the new survival card to check to see if they have completed 3 consecutive survival goals, and if so, grab one of the radio cards.
Yeah.
And then, if all of the radio cards are collected, players win. I know that'll be defined more in the end game conditions, but the only reason I put it here is that if these conditions aren't met,
Yeah.
then it goes into a new turn phase. If they are, turn stop.
Right.
So should you put if the get the lose one too, so that way it doesn't go into the next round?
Yeah. Do you want to put that with the suffrage counter?
Yeah.
Okay. counter reaches 0, all players lose. Loose. We did not mention anything about fire in this turn sequence.
Shit.
What about fire?
I think
I
we'll
just-
just say, you need this amount of wood to keep the fire going all month.
We'll just keep that in the monthly goals. Yeah, we'll just define it. We'll have a little fire counter with a little wood next to it.
Yeah.
But what does the fire do for them?
It
What is
allows
it?
them to cook their
Keeping
food
going.
and I guess keep warm.
Yeah.
I think
What
the big-
happens if that goal's not met? Does that count? Well, if that goal's not met, it counts as the entire survival goal not being met.
Yeah.
So we can track that.
I think the turn phases are.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a page.
It is.
It is a page. I like that. That's a good thing. All right. So, play takes place during several months. Each month is broken down into 4 rounds. At the beginning, survival of children, as well as I'm gonna capitalize weather condition too, because it's an object.
Yeah.
That will affect players for the duration of the month. Jeffrey, I forgot to ask, and I feel kind of like a jerk. The changes, is that something you're on board with? I don't think we ever really gave you a chance to voice your opinion on that.
No, I think the changes are fine. I think it makes the game a bit more simple, which I think it was a bit complex whenever I did my test.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot to do in my test, and at the same time, I didn't implement any of the trader stuff or anything.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with it.
Cool. And we can always, if he likes this, we can always try and stretch a little bit, but we'll get our goal or our, what is that? Why is there a weird? I guess that's just on my screen. The core mechanics down.
I think he just wants us to get, the best we can down now, and next week on it, after he goes over, he'll probably tell us what needs to be fixed for
Mhm.
next week's GBD.
This is one of the only classes that I'm like, I do care. I want us to get the best grade that we can on this, but I would rather learn and,
Yeah.
get.
I'd rather sit here and make mistakes, now, so in the future I know what to, look for to
Exactly.
do. I'm not saying this thing's gonna be perfect, and I sure the hell hope it's not.
Well, you learn more from making mistakes than you do being correct all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So is there anything else we can think for our turn phases? I think they're fairly complete. We talked about why we use the random encounter. No, we didn't. We didn't talk about the roles for the trap and why we're using a random roll for that.
What was the rules with the trap? I thought the trap was it's gonna automatically have an animal in it.
Yeah, it'll have we had an idea that if no matter what,
Yeah,
it would have you will get an animal.
but the roll will determine the value of it.
Yeah. And I think the rationale behind that was that you don't necessarily know how big the animal is it's going to wander into your trap.
Yeah.
It's a bear.
It's a bear. I kind of went online and looked up how to make man traps and big game traps, and some of that shit is scary.
Yeah.
It's super cool though. But they were showing us how to do yay, Justin's back. How to make a big wooden rock with spikes on it, and you hit a tripwire, and this thing swings through the trees and impales somebody.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
exactly like Star Wars, or like a bow trap, where you have a primitive bow and arrow set up on a tripwire, and it just They use it for taking down like deer and moose and caribou and stuff like that, and it's pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah.
What's going on with your phone over there, dude?
I'm popular, but I'm working right now, so they can call me later.
So did you guys come up with ideas for what we're gonna do with the class cards?
Haven't yet.
No, I think we at least got to get the mechanics and that stuff done today because we have nothing for there, and those are something crucial that we need done.
Because we can, once we have the core down, we can think about adding those classes and how they affect the core.
Yeah.
So I think for at least for this round of the GDD, unless we have time to implement them, but they may be in like version. I would definitely want to have them, but they'll probably be in version 2.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just have to figure out if we do want them to have abilities, like what is it and how is it gonna help them out.
We had an idea was raised of having each starter or survival pack have a different tool in it. Like one would have a machete, one would have a hatchet or an axe, one would have like a survival shovel.
Yeah.
But
But
we didn't really get into it.
Yeah, I mean, adding those, we would have to put a reason what they're used for. I feel like that would just that would be too much. We would have to, that's too much to the scope of the game. If you got a machete, you're probably gonna use that to hack down vines and stuff like that, or a lot of foliage. But I don't see anywhere where that's necessary to be put in here.
No, it may just be some kind of pretty artwork, just so because you had mentioned they need something to actually gather resources besides their hand. I mean, I know like in a lot of video games, you go up and you start punching trees and you get wood for them.
That's what I was thinking with the hatchet and stuff. Are they going to go up to a tree and just like take it and rip it out of the ground and carry it back?
Of course.
I mean, hey,
Absolutely, they will.
I'm fine with that.
No, I think the hatchet though, like in a survival pack,
yeah, I mean,
it's pretty standard to have like a hatchet or a big machete or some kind of cutting tool.
Yeah, I think for the time we have left to finish this, we might just leave it out and see if it can be added in next week or if it needs to be.
Sure.
Yeah, or if just going to the woods and collecting wood is too easy, then maybe we'll have to put something in. But because of the time we've got, I think it should be left out.
Well, we may not even have to like actually put it in as a mechanic. We could just put it in, like as we're talking about gathering resources or talking about the survival pack.
Yeah.
In the artwork, just show a hatchet hanging off of the survival pack.
Yeah.
Because then people know, oh, this is probably what I use to get resources, and that's all it would have to be. More of a mental thing than a gameplay thing. But all right, begin. Players already opponents. Players win. Otherwise, players looking survival card. Cool.
I think that looks pretty good.
I think it does too. General rules.
Yeah, rules.
Alright, let's see. If we have regions, we can keep that in there. Failed survivor goals, that's another. Seasons will be changed to weather.
They change weapons to traps.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just popped my knee. That did not feel good.
We're not sure about special abilities yet, so we can take that out. We have survival goals minute, which that's simply as failed.
Yeah.
Backpacks and their punch cards at the end of every month.
We do need the starter pack though,
Correct.
because that's like the starter pack for the player's hand.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably go up here somewhere. Kind of go in order of things. So, general rule, I guess that would be starter pack. Let's see, they'll get 2 wood or 2 food. Let's just say 2 water and 1 food. We'll do it like that. Kind of
That sounds good.
Seem like a little realistic.
Mhm.
So 2 water, 1 food. Let's start with that. Should they start with any wood? Probably not.
No, I mean you don't. Do you go around in your backpack carrying?
I mean, I used to
I'm going camping. I'm going to stick wood in my backpack.
I used to put
That's what I do.
bark in my survival pack just in case.
Oh, for fire starter.
Yeah.
I always
Also
carried
healthy.
sticks, like that I could turn into fuzz sticks.
Yeah.
Started
Actually,
this will. What'd you say, Jeffrey?
I was just saying I would carry sticks and make them into like spears, but that's about it. That's what I did with my sticks. And around camping or whatever. Because when I lived in Lake of the Ozarks, I lived like right outside the woods, so
I love Lake of the Ozarks. Yay!
What? There's nothing wrong with Lake of the Ozarks.
No, it's better than the Niangua River.
Niagara River.
Yeah, it's the party river where everybody you could make rafts out of the beer cans that people throw in the river. It's terrible. Yeah.
that sounds so bad.
Oh God, it's hairy. It's bleh. Opening hand.
Whoops.
Yes, on the crash plane regions.
We did not add that in there yet.
Now, right now, we just have it as you survive 3 months consecutively. You get to pull from one of the components. And once you get all 4 of them, you win. Now, we could do something if we wanted to be really, really mean. Add duplicates of the components within that deck.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, I almost wonder if that might make the game too difficult. Because if you have 4 of each thing and they're all shuffled, you may survive a year and end up with 4 antennas.
Yeah. I've had that happen before, dude.
So that might make it a little too difficult. But
Yeah.
I think
One thing, Justin, I know you mentioned yesterday was adding wind as a weather effect. And I thought about how we can actually add that, and we could put that on one of the survival monthly goal cards. I put that one of the months you could say that there was a windstorm and it knocked down some branches that destroyed part of your shelter, and for that month you have to go out and collect this many wood to rebuild that part of the shelter.
Yeah, that could be an idea.
Yeah. I mean, any ideas that anyone has that we can't physically put into, the mechanics or something like that, we could always try to put them into the cards.
yeah,
I mean, you could have for the wind, it could just be a hurricane that was off it wasn't directly on the island, but it was off the island or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the wind
the
just
shark
came
came.
by. Because I know that happened a lot in Florida. You wouldn't actually get hurricanes, but you get the weather from it. When I lived in Florida for a year.
We get the weather from hurricanes in Missouri eventually. It all comes up here and it gets all muggy as hell.
Yeah, but in Florida it was has anyone been to Florida when it's hurricane season?
Uh-uh.
Oh yeah, the winds were insane.
I've been in a tornado before. Does that count?
Yeah, but it's pretty close. A tornado's worse than what the winds were, but that gives a general idea what it's like.
Dude, tornadoes fucking suck. There's nothing
love-
good about tornadoes.
I love tornadoes. When it's tornado weather, I'll go outside and just watch. I don't know. I'm obsessed with tornadoes.
I like it when we're at the station and we get to see them, but I don't like being involved close to wherever they are. That happened once and it was no fun for me.
I don't think it's any fun for anyone.
No. Okay. So the general rules, these are going to have to be fairly detailed. Symbolize the player's opening hand. Opening hand.
Yeah, and reading this down here, this is a section which we use to handle the rules that do not fall into the specific turn phase. For example, if you're able to play a certain card at any point, then the rules for there should be used here. So
Okay, yeah. So these would be like the mountain taking more fatigue.
yeah, well,
if that's what we want to do.
no, I think the terrain might not affect the fatigue. Well, yeah, I guess you could say the terrain, but that's based on the squares that we have in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we could add that.
I didn't like how the mountain took 2 fatigue just to go like into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like before we like made all the changes now. It just because you needed stones on the other one to make stuff, and it's like so difficult to get anything.
So maybe we shouldn't have the terrain affect the fatigue. Maybe it's just the weather and or if the bad thing happened.
So, like the having the 3 squares.
No, we should still have those.
Yeah.
But
The terrain doesn't like have like
no,
-2 fatigue.
no. Yeah, no, we'll get rid of it. Like everyone will have start off at base fatigue of 4. Unless they fail a survival gold card, then that'll affect their fatigue if we have any. But having 3 areas in the region for them to explore, -1 fatigue every area they move to, but plus their increased chance of rolling.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to combine the starter pack and the backpack, just because it will turn into the same thing. Because if you have a backpack and you only have a few things in it, when you get more things, it pretty much becomes the backpack.
Yep.
Opening hand. We'll say survival pack. So symbolize survival pack. Symbolize the players.
And the survival goals I just want to make sure are the goals for that you get every month.
Mhm.
Alright, just making sure.
We're gonna use the 20-sided dice, right? Or do we want to use the 6 when they're rolling for resources?
Let's use the 20. Why not?
All right. So for area 1, let's say they need to roll a 10 or higher, or should we say?
Yeah, 10 or higher, and then split the rest of it like we had
Yeah.
the other one. Just keep the ratio the same.
Let's see. For area 2, let's say they have to roll a 7 or higher.
8, 9, 10. So they have 5, 6, 7.
And then I was gonna say 3, they have to roll a 5 or higher. Or is that
So-
seen too? Well, let me get some calculations.
Suffrage. Should suffrage counter be a separate general rule within itself?
I think so. I think it needs to be. to explain it just a little bit more. Well, maybe that's more for the detailed rules for specific pieces
Oh yeah.
down there at the bottom. Sort of a survival pack. A total of 7 resource cards can be.
I'll be right back again. I just gotta check on pizzas.
Okay.
Sounds good. Everybody had pizza tonight.
I had
Everybody.
pizza.
I had a Mexican from a decent Mexican place.
Yum. So can I get rid of the backpack thing down here?
Yeah, go ahead and get rid of that if you would, please.
Alright.
If the player goes over this limit, 1 card must be discarded. That will be.
Like we're almost
Place.
at 15 pages.
Yeah, we have a lot of instructor text in there.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the text. Well, don't we have to also include like images of the board and whatnot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we got the whole flow chart we still got left to do.
Yeah, the flowchart would be a lot.
Let's see here.
We're doing the flowchart tonight as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, we got the turn phases down, so we could do the flow chart.
Yeah, once we go through the general rules and the details, the flow charts really won't take that long
No.
since we have a very heavily defined turn phase.
Yep.
Which is great.
Write down the end game conditions.
Go for it, bro. Okay. So we have the regions. Regions are explorable areas on the board that players can collect resources from. Each region has 3 areas that the player can move to. Area 1, 2, and 3. Only 2 players can occupy a region. And area 1 and 2.
You know, I think we'll do, instead of having to roll 10 or higher, I think for the first square we should only give them like maybe a 33% chance of getting a resource card. Area 2, we can give them like maybe 50% chance. In area 3, the final area, we can give them, you know, about a 60-65% chance of getting a card.
Does that add up to 100?
Well, the way I got it here is, you know, if you have a 20-sided dice, you know, for 100% they can roll anywhere from 1 to 20. For a 17% chance or 75% chance, they would only have to roll from 5 to 20. 50% chance would be 10 to 20, and a 25% chance would be 15 to 20.
Okay, yeah, let's use those to start off with, and we can always tweak them later if we need to.
Yeah.
If it seems too easy or too hard.
So.
And then for the medical rolls, I think they should be capped at a 10% chance regardless of where they are.
Yeah.
And that can be put down in like the goal specific places. Okay. Okay.
Back.
Yay. Just adding a little more heat to some of this. As the failure conditions worsens, if we count. I'm trying to. I had a word in my head and it just flipped out. I'm just gonna fresh bronc.
Timely demise.
Untimely demise, yeah. Bullet point. If the suffrage counter reaches 0, then you lose. Then
Justin, we don't have to add the wind into the weather because the wind's going to be part of the survival monthly goal cards, not as weather card itself.
okay.
Traps are crafted from
This deck contains food. That's what I would have put.
Now that I look at it, how exactly do the weather effects affect fatigue? Is it like as soon as they enter that area, they get -1?
Yeah, it just takes more fatigue points to do anything in that area.
So if you got a rain and it affects the forest and everyone has 4 fatigue points and you go to the forest, now you have 3 instead of 4.
Yeah. Or it takes. Yeah, either we could do it that way, or we could do it to where it takes. No, we could do it that way. You just lose the fatigue. Because I was going to say, it would take more fatigue or more action points to do each task. But if we did that, it might end up being a little confusing.
We could just say it takes 2 fatigue to initially enter the area instead of just 1.
What if you're already in the area when the month starts?
Then you're lucky.
Then you automatically have
Yeah,
most.
maybe it would make sense to make it cost 2 fatigue to search instead of 1.
Yeah. Food value. Discards a lower food value. Now, we haven't, whenever they roll, they can choose whether they're going for food or crafting or no, the food and the crafting decks are they combined?
So we should have, on the board, we should have a weather pile, so we could just put down the weather effect for the month.
Yeah. when we figure out how the board's gonna be set up, we'll have a section for that or a spot for that.
But guys, are we doing the food and the crafting deck are combined, and then the medical's separate, or are we doing 3 separate decks and the player says, "I'm rolling for food" or I'm rolling for resources?
I think that works better because if you're trying to get food, but say the deck was shuffled and all you keep pulling up is wood, because then the thing I mentioned was, are they allowed to discard that back into the pile or do they have to keep that? I think having a crafting deck, because if you're going in the woods, in the forest, and your goal is to go get wood, for fire, I mean, that's what you're going to go for. I don't think you should have a chance to also maybe be able to get food. Say
I like that.
Say you're rolling to get, or you're going to get wood, and you're rolling, and you roll, a 6, and you pull a card, and it's +2 food. That kind of it helps you out, but that's not your intended goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having a crafting deck, a food deck, and a medical deck would be appropriate.
I agree, because that also puts a little bit more player choice and strategy into it instead of just being completely random.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. I like it a lot. Players can choose which deck to roll for during their turn. Food deck. Where did you put the rolls for what they get, what, when, where?
Let's see. Did I put something? I did. I don't think I put something in there for that. Well, I got. Well, I said right here. Area 1, you have to roll 15 or higher to get to get food, which gives you 25% chance of getting something.
Is that food and crafting resource?
Yeah, I think for everything it'll be.
Except the medical, which is the 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll grab those and start.
I guess food and crafting will be the same, and I guess medical will add 2 to the required rolls, so they would need to get like a 17 or higher.
Mm-hmm. I'd say even an 18 or higher. Well, let's try 17.
Yeah.
Try 17. Trapped animals. Rolls for the food and crafting decks correspond to the areas in which the rolls take place. Okay. Just to craft traps and complete monthly survival goals. All right.
On the medical deck, would you say medicinal like materials or just materials?
Yeah, medicinal materials that correspond with specific survival goals. And then we'll put that these resources are some of the hardest to get in the game. And then we'll put the percentage chance, the 10% or the 5% chance to... What is 18 out of 20? What is that? That is... Or would you say 17 out of 20?
Yeah.
Let's do some math. Okay.
That is about I got 0.85%. Well, 0.85. That is
So about 9% chance, pretty much.
yeah. Maybe percentage.
Multiply it by 100.
Yeah. So yeah, about 8.5. Oh yeah. So we'll say about 9% chance.
We're doing math in game design.
Hey, that's what you gotta do.
That's true. Well, I ran that simulation too, and I was like, when I was setting it up, I was like,
Yeah.
the hardest part about this was just figuring out how to set it up. After that, it was just like,
I was like, I could probably do this all in my head. I think I got like player one's probability down. And I was like, crap, I gotta do this 4 more times. I tried doing it all on paper first, but I was like, no, I don't remember how to do it on Excel. All I remember is through like an if and like add or sum or something like that. I was like, I'll just go on Google it.
I sent you my spreadsheet, so that kind of that's one way I did it.
Yeah,
I looked at yours. I was like, and I looked at mine. I was like, I did 4 turns per player, and he's got 100 on his.
Yeah, I just wanted to see, like, out of 100, what was the base amount of cards they could get.
I didn't realize that at first, but the more turns I did, probably the more results I'll get. But I was like, just for shits and giggles.
We call that shiggles.
Yeah, I kind of just played through like a turn on my test. As you can tell by my messy paper.
Hey, man. The weird thing was, yeah, and the cool thing is we all came up with the exact same problem. And we're like, all right, guys, we gotta fix this. And I think this does. I think this fixes it. And I love that we have the 3 separate decks, because that adds, a different kind of amount of, I'm a player, I can choose to go after this, or this, or I can choose to go after a trap based on whatever this monthly goal is, and based on whatever the players around me are going for. So we have randomness, but our game is no longer completely go here, roll dice, get the card, put the card in thing, do again. It's it's literally the luck of the draw whether you complete the goals. Whereas this, there's a lot more choices.
Yeah.
So I do like that. Okay, so survival. These are some of the. These are not some. They are the hardest resource to acquire.
So we'll say a 17 or higher in area 1.
Huh? My camera's not on.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay.
Players have a. Okay, so players must roll a. Would you say 17?
Yeah, I mean, we could put that kind of the same setup I have up there, like the bulletin points underneath it, just to give it more clarity. So.
You said that was roughly a 9% chance.
Yeah.
I'll put that in there too.
Yeah, I'll set that up. What happened?
I'll wait for you to set that up before I tippy type.
Area 1. Players need to roll.
Are we going to keep that flat though? Just across all the areas is just 9% chance?
Yeah, I think that'll be easier for now.
Would you let your noisy cat out?
My noisy cat. You're sitting right by the door.
That's true. I could just like reach and meow. Hey there, Miss Kitty.
Let's see.
So,
what if it did a 13?
I mean, I don't want to be like
Ooh.
a picky person, but I'm very picky when it comes to math. And it's not exactly 9%.
It's like 8.5. So
Yeah, I rounded up.
Yeah, I'll say 85%. If they roll 13 or higher, that gives them a 65% chance.
Wait, 85% chance of getting it?
Oh no, 8.3. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Wait, what do I got here?
Because I thought it was just like no matter where you were on the board, it was the. Because I think those need to be kind of separate.
Oh no, hold on. You know what? We got it all backwards. Yeah, no, it would be 85% chance would in the last area, in area 3. They would have to roll. Players need to roll a 17 or higher in area 3. Oh no, that would be area 1. Hold on.
Just make it
20-sided
flat.
dice.
I'm going by what we got up here. So it would get lower the higher the areas go. So yeah.
Do we want to do that or keep it flat, like completely? No matter where you are on the board, you
know
have a
what?
9% chance to
Yeah.
get medicine.
Let's just keep it flat.
Is this a 20-sided die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna use the 20-sided.
It's not 20% chance.
Alright.
It's 4 out of 20 numbers on a die.
So that would be a what math guy?
It's a 20%.
Okay, so
If they have, they gotta roll a 17, 18, 19, or 20.
okay. And then if that's too easy, we'll scale it back a little bit because I want those to be just super hard to get. Not impossible, but all right. Okay? So we got another 2 pages.
I think out of all the subjects I ever took at school, math is my favorite.
You know, I hated math whenever I was in school because, like, not intentionally, but a lot of people, in one way or another, told me I was too stupid to do math.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I didn't go into game design in the first place, and went into video production. And then, like, I started writing scripts for After Effects and doing pixel counts and stuff like that. And I was like, I can do this.
I mean, I don't think math is. I don't like how they teach. Well, I don't like how my school taught math. Anyway. I took math when I got to Folsom. And I was like, because I took a class in my high school, and I retook it whenever I went back into Folsom, and it was like 100 times easier in Folsom than it was in my class. I was like,
Well, they actually teach well at Full Sail.
yeah.
My wife and I had the same. Like, she was going to MSU and I was going to OTC, and we had the same math teacher. Her name was Mrs. Sun. She was a charming lady, but she had a very thick Chinese accent, which made it kind of difficult to understand her at some points. But the main problem with Mrs. Sun is she would mess up her own notes. So she'd be like writing an equation, and you'd have like 4 pages of notes, and one of the students would be like, "Isn't it this?" And she goes, "Oh, sorry, I mess up." And then you're just like, "Huh?" It was bad. I gotta say, guys, I am pretty happy with the bulk of this document.
Yeah. Let's see.
I was kind of worried about that.
I think
Just-
survival pack. This will symbolize your split carry at any given time. At the beginning, contains 2 water and 1 food resource per player. As players gather more resource cards, they can be stored in the survival pack. A total of 7 resource cards can be carried at one time. If a player goes over this limit, 1 card must be discarded. Place it in the discard pile. Alright. Regions. Regions. Just did that. That looks pretty good. Failed survivor goals.
We may want to include like a picture for this part.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where we should add pictures, and it was like if I think somewhere in here it said to add something about the game board.
Mhm.
So we might add that somewhere in there. I mean, we could even do it in here in the general rules. I think that's actually what it was.
And we could just put like C game board for clarity.
Yeah, and I have like a card concept and a board concept up. I have a board concept, but I'm thinking I'm also going to try. I'm going to make a region. You know what the regions will look like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sounds good.
all right, I'll go over failed survival goals. The suffrage counter goes down. 1 gets closer to 0. This represents the current condition of the survivors at any time. As they fail goals, the conditions worsens. If the counter reaches 0, the survivors have come to the elements and the ultimate end. If the suffrage counter reaches 0, then all players lose. Weather, rain, cost.
I'm trying to make a bullet underneath that. I wasn't trying to.
Oh,
I was talking to Justin. I was like, "It won't let me do that." How's that one up here? And we'll put one for the monthly survival cards, because those are going to be the big rule. Survival, and then we'll go card 1, card 2, but fixed. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of flesh out some of these, like what weather is, what traps are.
yeah. I'll just rain. It costs players 2 fatigue instead of 1 when searching. Is it? It's not costing. We said it was just gonna take away 1, right?
Yeah.
Players have 1 less. So players have 1 less fatigue token to use when searching.
This is going so much faster than last time. This is awesome. I mean, from our last concept, when we're sitting there going, sometimes you got to murder your darlings, man. I really wanted to use that trader, but he just wasn't not working out.
I can't remember. There was a video game that they were going to add something to it, but then it just would not work. So they removed it. I can't remember what it was. But then I was thinking, there's got to be a lot of, I mean, not just video games, but mobile games, board games, where they come up with an idea and then they realize that it doesn't work, so it completely turns into a whole different other game.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. Players fatigue based on what condition is drawn. There you go. Traps are an alternate means of food acquisition. I did not spell
one of these other traps.
What's that?
It says traps.
Chances are,
Yeah, let me just put a colon next to it. There we go.
chances are we'll be putting all the details of these things in the spot below.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, I'm
right
just.
now yeah.
I think that's going to be a whole nother, like, probably 3 pages, because if this is a GDD and you're going to give it to artists and coders or whoever else, I mean, especially for these monthly goals, I think we should have all of the monthly goals listed out on here too.
Yeah, I just put the first 2.
Yeah,
just
so I don't think we'll get heavy into that. I think that'll be something we'll finish up tomorrow night, so it gives us a day to come up with ideas. I have 8 ideas already. Well, card 1 will be...
That's the shelter.
Yeah.
And card 2 will be the first first food and water goal
Well,
Yeah, this is basically the section where we have to explain exactly what everything does.
yeah,
Yeah. So, and I was just putting, like, all I was doing up there is not necessarily, like, for the traps thing,
yeah,
is just adding a little bit more clarification. And then we
So-
can do the big things down here. What Trapped Game does, why it's in there. And these, like, the crafting resources
Mhm.
will be, we can't really do those as to what those do until we finish with the monthly goals. I mean, we can, like, obviously this is cordage, it's used for this, but wood can be used for blah 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 based on what the survival goal is. So what do you want to do? Do you want to have everybody? Because if you've got 8, I've got 2 or 3 that I'm fleshing out. Do we want to try and have everybody bring 5?
yeah. We can do that. Like, here I got 8. Well,
And then pick from the best.
Yeah, the first 2 obviously build shelter, gather food and water. Then 3, I said berries and fruits aren't enough, so you have to start making traps to get animals. That would be 1 monthly card.
We could have like the monthly goal is one player must create at least 1 trap.
Yeah. And then I said another one would be collect animals for more food, so maybe you have to collect, 2 more animals. Then I said hot water or hot weather, players consume more water during the hot weather for the month, so you have to collect more water. Then I said, food being left out causes rodents and insects, so you have to build a food storage. In the shelter, you don't have beds, so you get, sleeping on the floor can cause fatigue problems, so you have to make beds. And then I had the windstorm destroyed part of the shelter, so you have to rebuild that.
Mm-hmm. I had a similar one with the rat.
Yeah.
And then I also had upgrading your shelter.
Yeah.
To like adding a raised bed. I also had your water supply got contaminated.
Yep.
It needs to be filtered, so you build a filter with sand, wood, and stone.
Yeah.
Filter your water.
So that'll be the goal for tonight, tomorrow, and I'll message David that too, to have him come up with some ideas and bring them tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be tomorrow's.
The one thing that I'm kind of worried about, flowcharts I don't think will be that difficult.
No.
And we can kind of work on that. I do think that the in-game conditions, when the players collect all the pieces to build a radio, lose, so that reduces 0, players will die. Okay. Just some of the concepts will need to be included, like the game board and
yeah.
We can throw in basic placeholders, I guess. For like a standee.
Yeah.
Because I guess a lot of that would come from building the actual prototype. Because now, do we have to have we just have to have reference images, right? This is what we kind of think it's going to look like.
Yeah, for the original GDD, yeah, I believe so. I don't think it has to be the finished game. I mean, I haven't even started, because I know we got the dry erase markers or something like that, and I haven't even tried them out on the board or the cards to see if they will race off. I might do that tonight, but I was going to wait until we had everything set, probably like week 3 and 4, build the actual game on the stuff they gave us.
I'm the same way. I haven't drawn in. I've been using Roll20 and just making basic cards and kind of playing through rounds on that. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check that out, it is super easy.
Yeah.
To build like a base prototype in Roll20.
I think probably by the end of the month, so we can all get a chance to play this together. I know I started working on one for the original idea we had, but since we wiped that and now we got a new idea, I'll go back and start, try to build the game on there so we can all go in and play it together.
Yep. Yeah, you and I both started working on a prototype through there. I was like, oh, I'm doing that too. Wait a minute. All right, so just to prioritize and we kind of see what we have left to complete. We have flowcharts. Again, since we're all flowcharting masters at this point. And since we have a turn phase, it'd be pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
The summation, we got clarification on that. The perfect information, we have clarification. We may want to flesh out a little bit more as to why.
That was the imperfect.
Imperfect and some of the summation stuff too. Just more than like one sentence.
Yeah, I mean, like the instructor said, there's really nothing. I mean, if the game has any hidden components, then it's a non-sum or non-zero, and if it doesn't, then it's a zero. That's pretty much it. I mean, well, yeah, we could probably sum up maybe here. Cards are face down. Players cannot see what the cards are.
Yeah, there you go. I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
Players.
Well, I think that's right here. Cannot see what the cards, the opponent, or the game. So here, actually, we'll say has imperfect information. Cards. Let's say that's the information. Are faced down until players reveal them. Cards, players.
Tokens, game theory, symmetry. I mean, I think a lot of this will be okay.
Yeah.
The abilities we'll either need to take out or talk more about tomorrow after we get the other stuff done. But, honestly, I think we're in pretty good shape
Yeah.
for the Sunday deadline. I mean, if we have to meet a little bit on Sunday afternoon,
Yeah, that's fine with me.
we can do that too, yeah.
But I think,
Yeah.
I think the only other thing we got in here is the mechanics, and rules and mechanics, which should be easy because we have general. Well, no.
We've done that.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Sorry.
we just got done doing
I thought there was a whole, like another section that we had to write in the rules and mechanics, but nope, I was wrong. Game setup, yep, we got that pretty clear. Turn sequences. Now we're just finishing up. We did the general rules. Now it's just specific rules, and that's pretty much it.
Yep, specific rules, flowcharts, and if we have the frequently asked questions about the game.
Yeah. Which,
and-
when we finish this, like, I'm going to have my girlfriend and some of her family members read through this and see if it's clear to them or if there's anything confusing.
I'll do the same with
Yeah.
lovely wife. And
I guess that'll be the frequent FAQs.
the only other thing that we're going to have to do is after we figure out the goals or the resources needed to complete the monthly goals,
Yeah.
we'll have to complete our food and the values for our food and our crafting resources within their respective decks.
Yeah. I
But
was
once we
thinking just like berries and fruits I said are +1 or berries would be +1 food, fruits would be +2, animals, trapped animals, I think I put that in here too, would be plus.
Mhm.
But
That's a token.
yeah, but that'll be equal to +1. If it's a baited animal, that'll be equal to +2 to your initial food storage.
But I'm talking like how many cards are
In
in
a
the
deck.
crafting deck total. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. But once we figure out the monthly goals,
Yeah, I
and we
think
have a base, we can go off of that.
we'll do 15
Well then,
monthly goals.
for our monthly goals up here, like card 1 and 2, build a shelter and food and water goal. We need to go into detail about that. Like to build a shelter, what do they need?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about is defining those, and then after we have those defined, we can look at how many cards we have and figure out. Okay, well, if most of our monthly goals have 8 wood, we don't want to make all of our wood cards only ×1 wood. We want to have like a base unit to work off of.
Yeah. So, and our goal tonight would be to come up with ideas for monthly goal cards. Not
Mhm.
initially values for that. I think that'll be something we'll discuss more tomorrow as a group, but
Yes.
just come up with an idea that'll give you, the resources you need, and we'll figure out the numbers tomorrow.
Yeah, like come make sure if you're wanting to say like build a storage thing or get more food, specify the resources needed to like the type of resource.
Yeah.
Like in order to create the shelter, I need wood, stone, and cordage.
But don't say how much.
Yeah, don't say how much, and then we can come by and say, okay, well, here's kind of our base amount, and kind of go from there. I think that's a smart way to do it, because that's really the last hurdle, and then getting our concepts in
Yeah.
for the thing. And Justin, did you? I know that Tyler's kind of come up with some base concepts, but do you have any that you've come up with that you really like as the art lead? I know we talked about having the helicopter thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking of putting the regions in specific places so that to get to one region you would have to go through another. And while you can spend one fatigue to move to a region, it doesn't cost a fatigue to pick which area. You know how we have 3 areas in a region. So you guys are thinking that, right?
Well, didn't we have where we had to go through the base camp to get to the other region?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know if you say you have the forest up in the top left corner and the river down on the bottom right, and if you're in the forest and you want to go to the river, I mean, it seems like you would have to pass through the base to go that way. I don't think you would go around, to the the beach and then to the river.
Like I was thinking, if the map was going to be one like long map, then let's say the bottom of the map it goes beach, base, forest, river, mountain. So if you wanted to get to mountain, you would have to go through the forest and the river areas. Or we could even do like beach, base camp, and then it splits off so you can go to either the river or forest, and then those combine back into mountain after those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Come up with some drawings or art ideas for that, and we'll play test them all and see if that's too much for the players to do, or if it's maybe not enough. Maybe it needs to be broken up even more.
The only thing that worries me a little bit is we want to make it, since we're limiting how much they can carry.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that they have enough action points to get where they need to go to get the resource and get back to the base
by the end of the month.
By the end of the month,
Are we
yeah.
starting with 3 fatigue?
No, we're gonna have them start with 4.
With 4, yeah.
So it sounds like if it was set up like the way I said, with the base camp splitting into forest and river, then players could start at the base camp, spend 1 fatigue to go to the forest or the river, spend another to go to the mountain, spend 1 to search, and then spend 1 to go back another to the forest or river, and then they can't go any farther.
Well, I thought they would spend a fatigue point to move a space, whether that be from base camp to in your example, it would be whatever is next to the base camp. I think in our original example, we had it split into like 4 corners and then the base in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to go through a path. But
which it doesn't have to be base in the middle and 4 corners. I'm just saying, that was the original idea I came up with. But, I think everyone could come up with their own idea. But as Justin, you're the lead artist, whatever idea you prefer is what's the one that's going to go. So.
Well, it doesn't exactly fall into art. It falls into mechanics a little bit, being able or having to go through one region to get to another.
Yeah, which that's and Michael's the lead mechanics. So whatever if he thinks it works good, then he'll be the it'll be his opinion that makes it go into the game. So, but we're still early into all of this. We still have to play test what we have here to see if this will work. We have to come up with a concept idea of what the board's going to look like and how things are placed out, and play test it, see if that's going to work, or there's a better way to do it. So, I'm not saying your idea is not going to work. I'm just, we have so many other ideas that can also work too. So, that's why. I don't think we have to do it by this week, but more so next week. We're going to have to come up with ideas. But I think tomorrow we should come back with also ideas on how the board's going to look and how everything's laid out.
Well, just a concept that we can include with the GDD. And
Yeah.
and Justin, you've worked with me before. I'm open to just about anything. The one thing from a mechanics standpoint is just making sure that they have, if we're doing, like we talked about, where each movement costs an action point, like if there's a path from the region to the base camp, and along that path you spend an action point to go from base camp to a space close to the forest, and then you had to spend another one to go actually into the forest, plus spending another one to search and everything like that. We just have to make sure that they have enough to get back to to contribute their resources.
Yeah.
At the end of the turn. But the other thing about his idea that I really like is if you have action points that are further away, it kind of creates a little bit more stress, saying, okay, I know I've got to get hardwood from the mountain, but it takes me a little bit longer to get there.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that I really like about that kind of setup. So we'll just have to play test and see which one works.
And this is our game, so I want everyone's ideas and creativity to be in it, and I'm open to do all that. Just you wanted the wind in there. It couldn't fit in there as a mechanic with the weather, but it could fit in there some other way. So,
Absolutely.
Anyone who has an idea or creativity, it's going to be in there, but it's just maybe not the initial way you intended it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I just guess we'll get all those subcategory mechanics in next week, since we're just kind of going for the basics right now. Like we're saying, we're going to need food cards, we're going to need crafting cards, we're going to need weather cards.
Yeah.
And next week we'll really figure out exactly what we're going to have.
Yeah. And we're gonna play test a map style, like a region in 4 corners that are all separated. And if that seems like it's too easy for the players to gather stuff, then we could set it up the way you had it, where they have to pass through another region, maybe the forest to get to the mountain. To make it a little challenging for them, and they have to figure out strategies and stuff like that. It all comes down to play testing and what works and what doesn't. So we already know. We had an original idea that didn't work. We play tested it, saw it didn't work, so now we have another idea that's working. So,
yeah, but definitely draw up a concept of what you're thinking, Justin, so we can see it.
Yeah.
And we're all in the same place, because like I said, I really like the idea that if the 4 corners is too easy, that we force the players to take a little bit higher risk to get those resources.
Yeah.
And if by doing it in kind of an elongated map like that, another, granted, if our core mechanics work, another thing that could be interesting is having a player be able to give resources to another player. So like maybe there's somebody that's coming back from the mountain and they meet somebody that's kind of going that way. They can give them the resources that they picked up, emptying out their backpack a little bit more, so that they can gather more resources that they need. So that could be another interesting dichotomy that we could use.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want you to feel like we're discounting your idea, because there's a lot of good stuff that we could do with an elongated map type. It's just kind of a matter of figuring out.
Heads
that Jeffrey?
up.
Justin or Jeffrey had something he was about to say.
Yep.
I was just saying, I have an idea that kind of combines. It's kind of like it's the same format for the map, but where it's like the four corners and then there's a base camp in the middle. But I mean, I like the idea of like the possibility of going through other regions to get to other regions,
Yeah.
and perhaps that like instead of I don't know, it's hard to like explain. I'm probably gonna I'm just saying I'm gonna draw like a map of what it would look like.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Space-wise.
I mean, if that's the path we want to take, we might even realize that maybe they need more fatigue points to make it, a little fair if they want to go through the forest to get to the mountain. Are they going to
Exactly.
have to go through all the squares, the 3 squares we have in the forest to get to the mountain, or can they spend 1 action point to go to the forest and another one to go to the mountain? It's all going to come back from our playtesting results. So.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Heads up, I'm gonna have to go here. I gotta help my sister with some stuff.
All right.
But
Yeah, we're
I'll
just
see you guys tomorrow.
we're just gonna finish this up. I think we're pretty much almost done with it.
Mhm.
We'll finish it up and finish it.
Yeah,
100%
Tomorrow we're probably gonna be going through these detailed rules, putting in all the very detailed mechanics, right?
Yeah, we'll probably try to finish up some of them now, but we'll probably come back to this one more time tomorrow and make sure it's all good. But just for your goal tonight and tomorrow, come up with a couple monthly goal ideas and get a concept of what you envision the map to look like in the regions and all that. So
Oh,
Alright, yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same size as the map they gave us. Just draw something simple on the piece of paper.
stop walking in my direction.
Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, alright?
Okay,
Sounds awesome.
have a good night.
See ya.
Good night.
Breathe.
Alrighty. So we are on detailed things.
Take it somewhere else.
What are we? I'm down here at the crafting materials. You say wood is to maintain fire, craft traps and build shelter. The stone is to craft traps. Bamboo, same thing. What is clay going to be used for?
Building, again, could be used to build structures. It could also be
Okay.
used to build like an oven or
Cooking.
cooking. Yeah, craft traps and structures. Reeds are used for cordage.
That's cordage.
Cordage is
Like rope or things
Yep.
you can use as rope, like vines or stuff like that.
And I can always use wood to make rope.
Yeah.
I watched a video on that. I watched
Walk
actually
over
quite
there.
a few survival videos just to try and get like an understanding of how everything worked.
we did too.
Well, I was, I think, since I was like 13 or 14, I got really big into the outdoors, and I actually did a lot of self-taught survival things to myself. I spent a week out on the Appalachian Trail with just a backpack with like a can of beans and a Bowie knife.
I was gonna do something kind of like that, but I never actually got around to it. I was gonna go like camping for like a week with only like a limited amount of like supplies.
Yeah.
Make sure when you go your first time, bring somebody that knows what the hell they're doing with you.
Yeah, I was gonna bring 2 other people with me, so
We did some primitive camping stuff when I was in ROTC, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Really helps you build character and trust in yourself.
Mm-hmm. To like, I need to build a shelter.
Yeah.
I can do that.
And you'll do things you probably never even thought you could do. Like when I went, it was raining the first night, so I had no wood to start a fire, so that's why I peeled bark off oak trees, the white bark. I peeled that off and
wrapped it in a shirt and it dried off, and was able to make a fire.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go run to the restroom real quick. I will be right back.
All right.
Like, I was thinking, like, whenever we get the, I guess, like, the survival goal every month.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, if we said, like, the craft a structure, we should put, like, the description, like, a little, like, description, or, like, a little, like, I guess, like, saying in parentheses, it's kind of like, you need this, this, and this, and how much of it you need to actually make it.
Yeah, like for one of the goals, if we do like everyone's been sleeping on the floor and it's causing pain or something like that. For this month, craft beds, but to craft the beds, you need like 15 cordage and 15 pieces of wood or bamboo.
Yeah.
You know.
I just figured if you're in, like, that would just be, like, a simple one. Instead of having, like, some, like, other card that says, this is how you make a bed.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what dwarf willow is.
You don't?
Nope.
Mostly a mountain plant.
It's like an herb or something.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff, like moss, is good to use on rashes or burns. You could soak it. I don't want to say for open wounds. I think you might be able to use it for open wounds.
I don't think I want to put moss in an open wound.
And it's good to get water from too, because that's pretty much all it holds is water, and it's good for determining location too. I believe moss always grows on, I want to say, the west side of a tree or a rock. It's westerly side, or maybe no, it's one of the directions. So you could use it for directions too.
I don't know. I know it helps with direction, I just don't know how.
And it's good for collecting, or you could use it on, if you build like a roof or a house, you can use it as a roof. Or to wipe your butt. I don't know about that. There might be something in the moss.
That's why we have leaves.
Well, if you pick up the wrong leaf. Good thing for me, I'm not allergic to poison ivy, so I haven't wiped my ass with poison ivy leaf, but I don't think I want to try one. I've never had poison ivy before, so
I've never touched it or anything. I know my sister had some growing in her backyard once. It's funny because it was, like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like disguised within other plants.
yeah.
want to say like fresh water could also be used for like wounds. So
Yeah, we
it
can
might help to like clean a wound or something.
just hydrate players and I guess cure.
What do you use salt for? I mean, you can preserve food with salt.
Yeah. You can use it on um, infections and stuff like that too.
Putting salt in the wound. Sounds painful.
Use it to kill the slugs.
Oh man. Every time I think of a wound, I think of one time when I was riding my bike and I slid and I like slid down the street like on the side of my bike and I scraped up my entire leg.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, I went off this jump and I landed in the grass. And there was nothing in the grass, but when I stood up, I had a freaking gashing hole in my freaking knee. I freaked the hell out.
Yeah, I'd freak out if I had a giant hole in me. The only thing that sucks is if you're ever like riding your bike or like out somewhere and like you like injure yourself pretty bad, it's like almost like awkward thing to get back home.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, now I have this huge injury and I'm like a mile away from my house.
Yeah, we'll see. Heal, not cure. Heal. Let's see. Flow charts we could probably get done tomorrow.
It's so quiet.
We're gonna also have to mention the yeah, it's gonna be tomorrow. How many cards are for each deck? Like how many berry cards are we gonna have? How many fruit cards are we gonna have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a question. So there are some fruits that are berries.
Well, I think berries will say like blueberry or raspberries or something like that. Cranberries or cherries, something like that. And fruit would be like bananas, coconut, apples.
Nuts and berries.
I mean, you could collect a lot of berries that could probably equal the same amount as a fruit, but
Are we
it'll all come through play testing if that works.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, boys, where we at?
I think we are down salt deposits used to heal injuries. And infections and injuries.
What about preserved food? Are we gonna put that on there? I don't think we really need to preserve for you.
Nah.
Trap. Okay, yeah, there's trapped games under food. I was like, doo. Those are tokens, right?
Yes, I was gonna
Trap.
note that in their tokens.
Bam.
Yeah, tokens. Let's see. Detailed rules for specific pieces. We got the cards, monthly survival cards. We'll have to do those. The weather cards. Got to put those in there.
Yeah. Now remember, now that we're up to probably about 16 to 17 pages after images and flowcharts, we just have to make sure we keep it below 25.
Yeah, I think we will because we got all the directions to erase.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing? We had rain.
Clear days
Yeah.
were one of them. Look.
Let's see.
Oh, high tides.
Oh yeah, high tide.
That's right.
Holy cow. It's a long turn sequence.
You know, I noticed a lot of the turn sequences seem really long, and
Yeah.
then you play them, and they're pretty short.
Yeah. It's just describing them that takes so much space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're at 15 pages, even though
Yep.
a lot of it will be cut out later.
Yeah, and we have all this stuff that'll come out too.
15 to the minimum, so it's just a
Yeah,
good
I
thing.
think with our images and our flow charts, we will hit that easy.
What did we talk about? Whether I'll just control F it.
Now, are we cycling these? Like, as soon as one's discarded, or are we having an actual deck of weather cards, or just you mix them around and you just pick one?
Yeah, it'll just be mixed. Like at the beginning of every month, you just shuffle the 4 cards and you draw one.
Okay, I'll note that in the...
Yeah, there's rain. We're gonna have 1 rain card. I'll put that in front. 1 rain card. 1 high tides card. And then
I think it's interesting how many words in the English language like sound the same but are spelled differently.
yeah. Red.
It's like a bunch of weathers.
You know, I never knew that the English language is the hardest language to learn.
It is.
Mhm.
Okay. Probably gonna have to add the character cards or character sheets.
Yes, absolutely. We'll just say, for right now, we'll just say character 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because we can go more about them in the story section of our gamma.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can always write the story on the card, so.
Yeah. Well, I just meant as far as the GDD was concerned.
I can try and think of, like, some sort of, like, story about them. I just need to know, like,
Well, that's
I guess.
I should have mentioned that to Justin. That was the other thing. There's 4 characters and there's 5 of us, but I was thinking,
We have note taker when we're playtesting.
yeah. But I'll message David too. That's the other thing I should have told Justin was come up with a story for one character. You know, everyone gets a character and comes up. I'll take the story of the pilot because he dies early. So then the rest of you guys come up with an idea of the characters.
All right, I'm putting stuff in Evernote right now for a task list of what I need to do. Evernote is an amazing thing. Cannot recommend it more.
Yeah, maybe.
Works for me anyway.
Send Justin a thing about that too.
There's a task list before Saturday meeting. Put a reminder on it for 2 dates tomorrow. Okay, so we need to come up with at least 5 monthly goal or survival goals.
Yeah.
Which won't be very difficult. Survival goals. Story for 1 character. I'll take generic character 3.
So come up with like a story, their personality, background.
Yep.
I'll do character 4.
Okay.
It's half of 8. 8's my lucky number.
Cool. I'm wearing my lucky flannel right now. Character 3. All right. So what else did we need to come up with?
So we got
just
the characters, the monthly goals, and an idea of what the map might look like, or any cards. I know I had like an idea in the design folder about what the cards will look like.
I kind of like that idea. I mean, it's fairly generic, but for resource cards, that's kind of all you really need.
Yeah. There you go. Alright.
Okay.
So,
So
I mean, all I had on it was the name of it. I don't know if we should put a symbol for the region or just like the first letter of the region, but I just put an F for the forest, an image, the amount, and maybe a description if we want to go that far. But I know I mentioned depending on how many cards we have, if we don't have enough, we could always cut the ones we have in half, to make more, but that'll limit the space we have to use them. So.
Yep.
But we'll figure that all out tomorrow when we come up with ideas for cards that we want.
I think honestly, if I had to do it, if we end up getting more cards, I'll just go buy another pack of cards. They're like 50 cents.
Yeah, I went to I think Walmart to try to find cards, like blank ones, but I couldn't find any, so I might have to go to a hobby store or something like that.
Yeah, you can get them at like Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Hobby Lobbies in the big Kansas City there, Jeffrey?
Yep.
So I know you can find them there for next to nothing.
All right, yeah, I guess there's a couple of them down here. Do that.
I'm thinking like if depending on how we do on this assignment, I'm going to try and analog game jam in Springfield.
Oh yeah.
There has never been a game jam of any kind in Springfield, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah. I'm affiliated with the IGDA in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk to some of those guys up there. They are super awesome. And see if they can kind of guide me in the right direction.
Yeah, I might do that too because there's one of those. I think the Space Jam one, the indie one, down in Austin, but that's like 4 hours away from that. I looked. There's nothing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I live, but I know the one that they do at Full Sail. I follow them on Facebook, and they just had a start up your own indie company meeting yesterday that I went to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I could go to those, but I can't. work will not allow me just to sit in on
Yeah.
meetings.
I know they had another one. I think they had one tonight and another one tomorrow. It's only like an hour long. The guy just pretty much explained the negative side of starting up your own indie company. Pretty much just the funding and the cost of doing it. Really.
I'm kind of like, what I'd like to do is spend a few years working for another company,
Yeah.
just to kind of get some experience, make some contacts, and then I really like what Ninja Theory is doing, because they're trying to bring back like the mid-level developer,
Yeah.
making shorter games, but with a kind of that AAA style of quality that everybody's demanding.
Yeah.
But they're able to be at one project studio, do this shorter game, release it on digital platforms, and save money on manufacturing, all that kind of stuff. And as they continue this cycle of, you start off with shorter episodic type stuff, and then you get to the point where you can fund your own full-fledged game like we used to be able to do for mid-level developers before they disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got that in Evernote, which is good to go. Back to good to do.
I think for the most part, this is good. It's just the flow chart, which I might work on that a little bit. We got the turn phases down, which is pretty much the flow chart is just fast
Visual.
to read. Yeah, visual representation.
Yep.
Um,
Well, just remember too, whenever we work on the flowcharts, that he doesn't want one giant flow chart. We need to break a
yeah.
setup is its own flowchart.
I mean, looking at it, I don't think it should be that big. I mean, maybe we'll break it up. Have a smaller flow chart for when they're in a region,
yeah, absolutely.
and then have the big flow chart is the whole game, and then the small flow chart would be when they're in the region, setting up resources, traps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So. And then I think that's about it. The company logo is another thing we have to. I'll try to get that grid off the background.
Okay.
Or something like that. I don't know if you guys wanted like specific colors. I tried getting colors that had meaning, like blue gives the meaning of trust, red gives the meaning of passion, stuff like that. I thought that would be cool to have in there, but make something.
Yeah, definitely.
I did like the idea of the second one with the hurricane swirl. Those two swirls, try to make them look like sharks.
Well, yeah, they need to be a sharkicane.
I'll see what I can mess around with it.
Sounds good. I think that maybe you and I should get together and we'll kind of work on the flowchart after we get some of the last few mechanics things ironed out.
Yeah.
Because we can bang that out in probably about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that'll be quick. I got the first start of it. We just got to make sure we use the right shapes.
Yep.
So.
It was funny, whenever he said we had to start going through flowcharts, I went and copied that document from Game Design 1 into my my personal folders
Oh, really?
for this class, and then he had it downloaded.
That's
like,
what I did. I was like,
"God
I know I couldn't find it. I mean, I have all my folders saved, all my work saved, just so I could use it in the future. And I was like, oh, I can't remember what class I was in, so I went through them all and found it. And I was like, because I know there's one, certain shape for certain things.
Mhm.
But it was just the parallel shape.
Yep, the parallelogram and the
indicates
Yep.
actions in and out.
Yep.
So,
square or rectangles, the processes
yeah,
that the game goes through, and then you've got your
I think circle was
diamonds.
Oh, diamond. What was the diamond again?
The diamond was the deviated action,
Okay. Yeah, I forgot.
so like the yes or no.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So that'll be, I guess that'll be something if they rolled, the required number, right? Is that where you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, roll a 1 or a 0, it goes to off the dime into the you don't get shit. Go
Yeah,
back to the next
that's
turn.
right.
Yeah. For what game did you choose to break down in for the playground games? In game.
Let's see. That was in design tools or game
Yeah, that
design
was-
one.
It was game design one.
Alright, let's see. I got guessing game, playground.
Yeah, it's the playground game. I decided to do croquet because I thought it would be easy, and it ended up being like the hardest one of the bunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got an A on it though, so I was pretty proud of myself.
Oh, I did. Was Jax one of them?
Yeah, huh?
Yep, that's the one I did.
About you, Jeffrey?
I don't remember.
This
To be
was,
honest.
this was back in December of last year. Man,
I
I
know.
cannot believe almost a year and a half in fucking bullshit.
I know.
It's been like 2 years for me.
Yeah, I did a year at the Art Institute and a year and a half here. 2.5 years in school. I feel like I just started yesterday.
I know. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it feels like I was talking to Heather the other day, and I was like, I've been doing all these classes, and we've got a bunch of basics, and we haven't really made anything.
Yeah,
And now we're just like, oh,
it just hits us in the face. I kept saying, I was like, we're learning all this stuff, we're going to be designers. I thought we would have been more in depth into designing, which we have been, but I thought, being a designer means working with teams, so I thought we would have had more teamwork in classes, and then, it just hits us.
apparently
think-
we have a lot more coming up.
Yeah.
I think the last like couple months you have one big final project that you
Yeah,
have to work
I think it's
with multiple other
the
people.
last 4 months, a 4-month project.
See, that's
See-
going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think you make like an actual game too.
Yeah, so we'll be working with actual artists and programmers
Yep.
and shit.
Hope so.
Yeah,
So that's the real test right there.
I had a couple. I think there was. I think we did do a class before where we worked at the team. Maybe not, but there's a couple kids that in the previous classes. One of them went into art and 3D modeling. I've been keeping in touch with him a little bit, seeing his work. It's really awesome. I'm like, dude, I hope you're in my, part of my team in the future.
Absolutely. I wish that we had more opportunities to build more than just one game.
Yeah,
But I mean, based on how hard it is to build a good game, I get why.
Yeah.
I'd like just to jump in and probably what I'll do is just start making some maps on like Far Cry and
yeah. I downloaded Gary's mod, and there's a thing called Access Game Factory on Steam that's got some, world level design. Then
There you go.
We do level designing next month and the month after.
see that would be
I love
cool
level design.
because after like we go through the level design course,
Yeah,
it'll be really easy to pump those out because we already have the basic knowledge of what good level design is.
yeah. And
I went on.
every time
go
I
ahead.
play a game, I always look like, why did they put this here? Why is it this way? I mean, there's probably a reason behind that, but I'm just like, I'm going to learn about that stuff.
Yeah, and like I played one of the top rated maps on custom created maps on Far Cry 4 the other day,
Yeah,
and it was a freaking shooting gallery.
really?
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I could do so much better than that.
Yeah, I get that. Like a lot of remake. Like I think when it first came, Far Cry 2 first came out. I think one of the top-rated maps was Rust from Modern Warfare 2.
Mhm.
And I was like, I didn't know how to really do stuff in Far Cry when the map editing. I wasn't skilled enough. I mean, I'll put a house down, and try to build like a little town, but some of the stuff people make is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I'm just kind of looking through, seeing if there's any glaring issues that are jumping out at me. I don't see any.
No, I think the only thing I see is in the symmetry. We have something about the player's abilities, but I think we'll discuss that tomorrow. If player ability can be put in there somehow. Other than that, just coming up with the values, the game name, the logo.
Logo, and then we'll finish up. Like I said, the main The main thing mechanically that's missing is the survival goal cards.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking when we hand this in, should I message the instructor and just let him know from what we had last week on the focus sheet, this is completely a whole new restart for us because we realized it wasn't going to work the way we had it?
I'd shoot him an email and say, hey, we wanted to do a co-op game starting off.
Yeah.
We are still doing a co-op game, but instead of doing team versus game versus trader, it's team versus game.
Yeah.
The elements are the same the theme is the same as far as survival. That has not changed either. But we have added a lot more player choice, eliminated a lot of randomness, and the randomness that we have a good reason to use a random element.
Yeah. When I submit it, I'll put that in the comment section. So it knows.
Yep.
We made a lot of progress tonight and finish it up tomorrow.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm really for doing a complete restart and
Yeah, in 2 meetings, we pretty much completed this. So
awesome. So we'll I'm thinking that if we can get the what am I thinking? The goals done and then some of the story stuff finished up by tomorrow. I if worst comes to worst, we can put your concept in for the cards.
Yeah.
Because we can always iterate on that next week.
yeah, I mean, if we don't have any, if we have more than one idea, then yeah, I'm pretty sure we could add those in there, combine them to one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could definitely add mine in there just to have something in there, figured out more next week. But I think we're all good for now.
I think so too. Man, I just drank way too much coffee.
If you guys got Destiny and you don't have the Gallo one yet, you better get on there.
Man, I decided to buy. I have very limited resources when it comes to buying games.
Oh, really?
I'm broke as hell.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, I've been working for the same company for coming on 8 years, and we don't even scrape $25,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm right now, since the kids are so young, I'm the only one working.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty tight. But it's not going to be that way forever, which is the awesome thing. So, but I have to be kind of choosy. Like, we'll save up and I'll get, like, Heather got me Arkham Knight for Father's Day.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that.
There you go. I'd actually probably choose that over Destiny. For now.
I'll probably grab Destiny whenever they have the holiday sale and they include like a game of the year with the first 2 expansions.
I don't know if they'll ever do that. They got so many problems with their expansions, like the new one that's coming out, next month. To get it, you'd have to have the first 2 to get it at a cheaper price.
That's no good.
Yeah.
I've heard some things about that. Like, I played the beta and it was kind of fun, but I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to play with your friends. It's a really great game to play with your friends, but it's got a really bad reward system to it. Anyone if you go on the forums now, you'll see why. For a year, there's one rocket launcher called the Gallahorn that's like the best rocket launcher. And if you don't have it, then no one wants to play with you. And so everyone complained that they didn't have it, and it's hard to get. But now, there's a guy who sells, good weapons every week, and he's selling it this week, and now everyone's complaining that you can just go up and buy it from him instead of earning it, the hard way. So it's a good game, just
It's confusing at times.
Yeah, not fair sometimes, but
It kind of reminds me of like just what I've read online of the first Diablo when it came out.
Mhm.
It had so much potential, but had so many issues, and then once they figured it out,
and for a game that it is, this next expansion that's coming out, hopefully that'll, make it the game that it really is worth.
Yeah.
she wants it.
But if you guys think we're good for now, I guess we can wrap this up and finish it tomorrow.
Sounds good. I think once we get our personal stuff done, like the survival goals and this one character story and the map idea,
Yeah,
it'll go a lot faster.
yeah. That even will help us probably clarify a lot of the stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
alrighty, gentlemen. We will finish this up 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Alright.
So, I should have the recording up sometime tomorrow.
No.
And I will message David and Justin. Let them know what they need to have finished. So, alrighty. Have a good night.
Yep. You too.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.